Uh, he goes crazy eyes there for a minute.
Dude, that slow motion punch is
How's
epic.
everybody doing this evening? Yeah,
Doing pretty good.
Beard, how you been, man?
Yeah, well, won't get into all of it, but sometimes life kind of sucks. And these little, as I told y'all in the back room, these little respites, getting together and talking about films and hanging out with people that I like, is a very pleasant, bright spot in my day. So I'm happy to be here.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad we can make that rough day a little smoother. Hey, Dread, what's up, man? Glad you could come back, join us again.
Yo, dude, I don't know what you were thinking pulling me into this, but I'm so happy you did, because I don't talk to Shieldwall or Beard of Liberty enough. So it's going to be great, and I love this movie. I love this movie too much. I mean, there may be something wrong with me, so let's do it.
All right. Shieldwall, how's it going, man?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for having me on again, Jacob. This has become a highlight of my week. Being on shows with you. You always pick really good stuff. This is a great movie. I remember when it came out, I was kind of, I don't think I saw it in theaters or whatever. It wasn't until later that I saw it that I was like, wow, that was really good. And I can't believe how young these two guys were when they wrote this. Because Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote this together. They wrote the movie, the script. And I mean, I don't know if people that young could, it was like lightning in a bottle, I think, to be able to write something like that. So,
yeah.
Agreed.
Which you'll, as we go through it, we'll see how it is. But what got me was the styles too, like remembering what stuff was like back then.
Yeah, the 90s.
But this came out in 97, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah. So I was 28 when this came out. So I was like right kind of in the sweet spot there for the style and stuff.
I
so
was 5.
I could get away with like wearing the stuff they had on without looking like like I was too old for it or too young for it or whatever. I do miss that kind of style. It was better than the 80s, but way better than skinny jeans or whatever else. It was like a really good time in there when you had clothes that fit, that looked good. Some of that stuff I think you could still get away with wearing even today. So yeah.
Yeah, Dread, don't go start talking about ages whenever movies came out, because Shield will start feeling old, and then he'll start telling us how it was back in the day and tell us to get off his lawn. So
just see, not even 5 minutes of already stabbing people in the heart emotionally. So.
Yeah, Steven saying Mini Driver was so cute and and then I saw her in the movie this today, and I was like, yeah, she's nice looking, but she's not like unobtainably nice looking.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. Like,
no, I totally get it.
Right. So, kind of like that tomboy
Give me a
girl
second,
who's
guys.
been blowing up on Twitter recently.
If there's one thing I regret not being able to experience in the 90s was parkas. That's something that I think I skipped on. And it also is something that is prominent in this movie, that these dudes love to wear parkas.
Are you talking about the gym clothes kind of stuff they had on?
Yeah.
Like the pullover, the sports pullover? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck is rocking the crap out of those in this.
Yeah, and I would also like to point out just like what you said, with them being so young writing it. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they do not seem like the kind of dudes who would write a movie like that. And it's something that has always I actually kind of beat myself up a while back, not really, but a little bit. I'm just like, man, how did I not know that Ben Affleck did this? Is this one of those big reasons that he got famous? Because it's a huge deal. I mean, there was a record-breaking Oscar win for the two of them. Mm-hmm. The youngest that had ever won the Oscar. And it's like, and that movie had beat several other movies that were really, really good. And it also got Robin Williams his first Oscar win, which was crazy.
He was really good in it too. Yeah. So as we get into it, you'll see how the story is good. But what's also crazy is did they go to therapy or something? Because how they go deep into the whole therapy part and how the story unfolds there with the relationship that he builds with Robin Williams, that Matt Damon's character builds with Robin Williams, it seems so natural and organic. It's not forced. It felt,
it felt authentic.
It did. It kind
real.
of felt authentic. I mean, it bordered on not being cool with the whole patient doctor, kind of interaction, but it was the 90s, so you get away with a lot more back then.
I would say that just watching how Matt Damon's character kind of navigates the various different therapists, I would say that it's fair to assume that they probably did their research on the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I mean, they really do go into like the downs and unders of how therapists work and how he exploits them in different ways and defeats them in like battles of wits and stuff. There's also I think we'll go into that as well, but I think you could be onto something. That's something I never looked into, if they had actually like gone through therapy or talked to therapists. But I mean, that's also something they do kind of do in movies. So yeah, maybe.
Well, because so I was in the military, and when you come back from deployments, they make you go, fill out these questionnaires and sit through and stuff. And if you answer certain things a certain way, then you got to go see like a counselor for just like a quick, follow up or whatever. And, or if they think you had like a traumatic brain injury or something, they test you for things. And it's really easy to get drawn into a situation like that. Or, somebody was like, oh, you had more than 2 beers on a Friday night, you might have a problem with alcohol. You need to go see somebody. And, this wasn't like this in the 90s, but later on. So anyway, but that's how I was able to key on maybe, some of the questions they ask and stuff. But
cool.
But yeah, it was interesting.
Nice.
Hang on, sorry guys.
It's all right.
Hey, Prize of Reason, what's up, man? Good to have you in the chat.
Rice. It's actually surprising to see Price here. Whenever I do see him pop in, I'm like, dude, that's a real one right there.
Everyone is wicked smart.
Yes.
Yeah, it's had Casey Affleck in it too. I didn't realize that the first time I saw it that it was his brother.
Oh, that was Casey Affleck.
Also, it's got what's his name in it? Cole Hauser. He looks a lot different than he does in Yellowstone. He's got like reddish hair, and B, he's real skinny and young looking. Yeah, but I mean, I guess we all were in the 90s.
Have you guys seen Gone Baby Gone with Casey Affleck?
Yeah. Is that the one where they like take the kid and he goes and finds the kid and it's like cops or something had him?
Yes,
had her,
and I believe that was
piece of crap parents.
Yeah. Yes, that one, and that one is also Ben Affleck written and directed.
Oh,
but he won didn't he win something for Manchester by the Sea? Casey Affleck,
yes, he did.
Yeah, he won like a Oscar or some kind of award or something. I have not seen that really movie. I just saw that he was in it. Because wasn't he in like the Ocean stuff too?
Yeah,
like
that's what I knew him or know him from best. Because I love the Ocean's movies.
Yeah.
Yep. Same here. I saw him in Oceans. Yeah, he was in.
Those movies. I enjoyed most of those movies.
Are you sure you like all of them, Beard?
Well, there's varying degrees of like.
Oh, we're not. Yeah, there are some ones that
I didn't see this when it came out. It was years later after Affleck and Matt Damon's, politics and stuff came out, and I was like, Matt Damon and Affleck in the same movie? I don't know. But I'd watched it, and it's good. It's a good movie.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, this was something I didn't. This was a
Matt
first
Damon.
watch for me, unsurprising to anybody who knows my history with movies. But it was something I always heard about, and I knew was a big deal. But I never watched any of the ads on TV and thought, yeah, I want to watch that. I kind of looked at it and thought, I'll see it eventually. And I mean, I guess many years later, I did, and it's quite enjoyable. But we'll get into more details on that later on.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Steven
man,
saying Ben and Matt.
Robin Williams. Go ahead, Shieldwall.
I was saying Stephen Ransom saying that Ben and Matt are who the guys in Clerks are supposed to be. Wasn't one of them in the Clerks, like a cameo or something? It's been so
I don't know
long
about the
since I
first
watched
one.
it.
I know that in 2, Ben Affleck showed up
that might be
talking
it.
about
Yeah,
hygienics or whatever, and he was annoyed. But
I know he was
Matt-
in Dogma, right?
Yeah, they both were.
Yeah.
They were. I think they were the bad guys. I think.
Yeah, they were.
No,
the
Matt
Angels,
Damon was.
right? Yeah.
Somebody, one of my classmates in 11th grade convinced my teacher on the last day of school that Dogma was okay to watch in class and brought the DVD.
Oh,
It was not okay to watch in classes under 18.
Not for a school setting.
No.
Nowadays, they'd be like, okay, kindergartners, we're going to watch this movie.
Yeah.
I still think it's so wild that Jay and Silent Bob were the main dudes in the movie.
Well, you got to remember, in the 90s, they were insanely popular with the younger, college kids and younger people.
Yeah.
When it came out, because I was in that bracket when Clerks first came out. It's just I never saw it because I was overseas, too busy working to ever see it. It was a weird time. All kinds of big stuff was happening. Nirvana was hitting big. I was overseas. I didn't really. You could get the music, but you couldn't get the TV and the media that went with it. You know what I mean? To really get drawn into the whole thing. Hey, what's up, Sammy?
What's up, Sammy?
But yeah, this looks like now he could gentrify this room and resell it for $1 million. A house like this,
But yeah, that's
so
great.
One
that's
thing that always confused me about one thing about it confused me about, not confused me, but something I've always wondered about is if Matt Damon's character Will in this movie had this house, or was staying in somebody else's house, or if this house was just off the grid and no one really knew about it, or wasn't really taking care of it.
Like being a squatter, basically?
Yeah, I was wondering if he had been squatting at the time, just because his financial situation didn't really seem like he could handle living in even in this house. I don't know how different it was back in the 90s, and then how the living situation was in a place like South Boston. But when I was watching them,
I was gonna say rent was way more reasonable then, depending on where you were. Okay. And also he could just be renting this. He could have somebody letting him stay here. He could be squatting, although it seemed like other people they were lived in the same building. To me, there was a car parked outside.
It was just a house that they had turned into different apartments.
Right, just renting this.
He's got a stove in there.
Yeah. And he has a job. Here's the biggest plot hole in the whole movie for me. These guys are going to bars and slamming beers and stuff, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, you turned 21." And I tell you right now, the drinking age was already 21 by that point. It wasn't. If this had been set in the 80s, it might have been 18. But
I got the feeling that it was just like bar owners that didn't care.
Yeah, but he was going to Harvard bars and stuff. Well, I guess that one bouncer knew him.
I'm sorry, you need to pronounce it correctly. It's Harvard bars.
Harvard, yeah. But so they went up there, and I guess because their buddy was bouncing, that let him in. But But
Oh, that isn't pretty interesting.
But they're like drinking beers at work and all kinds of stuff, and he's not 21 yet. So
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it seemed like, well, maybe I'm thinking of it like modern day, like today. That'd be far fetched, but maybe not back then.
It's
in
like,
South
hey, look,
Boston.
it's Baron Harkonnen before his weight cut.
Yeah.
Before he lost
Actually,
everything.
It's Professor. What was he in the Avengers? He's got like the
Dr. Selvig.
Yeah, Dr.
Selvig. Yeah.
Dr. Selvig.
Yeah, of the
Selvig.
main cast here, you got him, you got Robin Williams, obviously you've got Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and what's her face? Her name's escaping me. But
Mini Driver.
Yes, Mini Driver. They all do fantastic. I mean, it's just in general, their performances I think are better than probably anybody who is involved with the budget of this film would have thought they'd get out of them.
Right, and that's what's
but
amazing.
I do think that Stellan Skarsgård and Robin Williams kind of steal the show. I mean, Matt Damon does a great job, but I think these other two guys kind of really bring in a dynamic that you don't really get out of the main character of the story.
Well, they were both seasoned actors already by this point, and I think
Yes.
Robin Williams, he'd already come off of like Birdcage, I think, prior to this, which was a really well acted movie. That he did. He was Mrs. Doubtfire already. That was a big hit.
Yeah, but I mean, I just always forget how good he can do drama.
Mm-hmm.
You expect him to do comedy. I mean, that's just what you expect, and he's going to be amazing at it. But when he does a serious role, I always forget how good he was at those.
Yeah, I mean, he does throw in a little humor in this, but his
does this violate the doctor-patient thing? Only if you grab my ass.
Great.
Yeah. He had a lot, but he also has like a lot of vulnerability too.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Sean as a character. Like Robin Williams really made him seem like a lovable, relatable dad character that really everybody would love in their lives. And that is so difficult to pull off. But they really do well with him, and him and Skarsgård's relationship, like it's very complex because they're both very smart. They come from the same world, but then one of them chose a different path, and that has put them at odds into their later adult years. And I also find their relationship to be really compelling. Probably more compelling. I'd say maybe in some areas Matt Damon and Robin Williams chemistry is a little better, just because these dudes, like, they go way back and they're always at odds, but yeah, I totally see what you're saying there.
Yeah. So
even in this scene, like Skarsgård's character is really prestigious, smart. Everybody loves him. He's about to have his whole world flipped upside down. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So Williams, so think about this. So he started out doing stand-up and he did Mork and Mindy. I'm old enough to actually remember that show. Mindy was kind of hot in her own weird way. But then he did Popeye in 1980, which is kind of a garbage movie. But
yes.
And then he did Good Morning Vietnam in 87, Dead Poet Society in 89, and The Fisher King in 91.
Wow.
And then he did Moscow on the Hudson in 84. He's been in a lot of stuff. And he did Toys, The Birdcage in 96. Okay, so it was this. Patch Adams was after this one. He did Hook in 91, Mrs. Doubtfire in 93, Jumanji, who can forget that one? I remember that.
Yeah.
And he was on fire in the 90s.
He did Flubber, RV, Jack, Night at the Museum trilogy. Okay, that's later on. He also not forget
Awakenings
Aladdin.
was good.
Yep. He did Robots. I don't know if anybody ever saw that movie. 90s. It was kind of like an animation. He did
Robots
Happy Feet.
I think he did What Dreams May Come as well in the 90s. But I also forget what year that.
Yeah.
Did he do that?
That's the one where he went to heaven and hell and stuff.
Oh, yes. And add Keiko from Star Trek was was one of the angels.
Boom.
Yeah. So earlier, Steven Ransom asked if Dead Poets and Goodwill are part 1 and 2. What's third in that box set? And I actually petitioned What Dreams May Come.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. Oh, he was Bicentennial Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Super underrated movie.
Yeah. So he's
Yeah.
And then
then he was in that 1 hour photo.
Oh my
where
god,
he
he
was
is
terrifying.
I didn't see it, but he was like,
yo, I
like
never
crazy
finished that
killer.
one. I hated seeing him.
Yeah,
that way.
I didn't like him in that either. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I know he's trying to branch out and stuff. It just didn't work for me.
I only saw part of it, and it was on the TV in the break room at work, and the manager walked in at a specific scene, made everybody change the channel. But what I saw, I was like, this is weird watching him.
Wait, there was a sex scene in that? I don't even remember that.
Well,
dude,
not so much as
kinda.
him like forcing somebody to disrobe, and yeah, it was really weird to see Robin Williams, the guy who knew his genie from Aladdin, in that sort of role.
He was very weird in that scene. Like,
Yeah.
come on, it's supposed to be fun.
I didn't do Aladdin because that one's obvious. That's too obvious. Everyone already knows that one.
Yeah,
I had to list off of the older stuff.
Yeah,
that
we
no
just
one heard
don't
of
mention
before.
that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole thing that starts this off is they put a problem to solve out in the hallway for just anybody to come along and solve it, and they have like a certain amount of time, and it's like solved in like a day or so. That's what it seems like.
One of the harder like mathematical problems to solve. It's not impossible. The student should be able to figure it out, but it's pretty difficult. Because even
Not in a day.
the like professors have, it's challenging for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is where you start to get an idea that he's a genius. Like he's taught himself to read all these books. So he knows all this stuff through books.
Hang on, guys. I gotta switch to a different thing.
Okay. Yeah, he's
Sorry,
kind of the definition of a savant.
Right.
Because we'll get to it later when he tries to explain how his brain works. And it's just like he likens it to the greats that compose piano music. They just look at a piano and they just do it. Like their brain just comprehends it. It's just, that's how it works. And that's how his brain works with math. He sees math and he goes, okay, here's the answer. He doesn't know really how he got there or why it's so easy for him, but it's just how it works. Mm-hmm. And there are people kind of like that. They're not common at all, but for all sorts of things, not just math and music and art or something like that. Just some people are wired that way. And if they stumble into that sort of field, they can do great things.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know. But he's not, a lot of times you get people like that, but then they have like other things that limit them, but he's not like that.
Yeah.
Or he's not
yeah. In the real world, there usually is a trade-off.
Right.
My dad works middle school special education, mostly with autistic and folks or kids that go to regular classes, but need just a little bit of extra attention. And obviously he doesn't give names when he's telling stories because he's got to protect privacy, but he's told us things about just like a kid who would come in on the bus in the morning and he would know exactly which teachers were there, not by their cars or the color, but by their license plate numbers. He would keep like a log of license plate numbers that he passed as he went to school and would kind of remember which cars and wonder why a car was missing one day and not going to work. It was just, that's how his brain was wired.
Yeah. And I think that Will does actually have a trade-off of sorts in the movie. I mean, yes, he's like really, really, really smart. And he's able to function with that intelligence and still remain like, still come off as a popular dude. But I think the trade-off is that because of his childhood and what he's gone through growing up in South, he's got very self-destructive behavior. I mean, he's willing to like throw it all away on a whim. I mean, you see it in several scenes, like when he's in the fight at the basketball court, or the argument in the bar, which is actually one of my favorite scenes ever. I think is one of the coolest things in the movie. And he's just there. There are moments where the people that he interacts with, they're not willing to mess their lives up in order to get a win on somebody else. But that's exactly the kind of person that will, or at least the style that he puts upon himself. That's what he takes on, is that he is willing to throw his whole life away if it means winning an argument, or getting a one-up on someone. I mean, he doesn't seem to care about jail or anything like that. And not until he meets the girl, when he starts really questioning, who he is and what he wants to do, especially after talking to Sean and whatever. So,
and I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I kind of doubt that some of that was intentional, because you do get some of that kind of just like, I have to win an argument with certain folks that have a certain degree of autism. They may be incredibly smart, but they're socially completely inept, and they will just step right out and get in your face because they know they're right and they want you to know that they are right. But it kind of falls apart with Matt Damon's character, because his relationship, whenever he starts dating, that doesn't really fit, because that sort of social interaction usually doesn't fall in the same kind of realm as people who are also that sort of person will get in your face and just kind of fight back because they have something to say, and the switch in their brain that says you shouldn't say it doesn't work. So I don't think it was intentional to kind of maybe put him sort of into that direction as a character, but and overall it definitely works. And I as a character, I do think that he is, I guess for lack of a better term, more perfect than you would definitely see in reality, but works.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, he loves cleaning that hallway.
I would love to be able to read the way he does.
Yeah, well,
he taught himself turning through that book. It's like, oh, I'm done with that page. Done with that page. Yeah, it's like,
right. But he also can retain that information. Like, I can read fast, but I can remember any of that crap. You know what I mean? But it's established, if you just look at his room in the beginning of the shot, it's full of books, and he's constantly reading and things. But he also hangs out with his friends. He does, like, he's drinking. He does like dude stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you point out his reading ability, is his comprehension. I think there's a small detail in the movie I think some people have glossed over, and it's a really cool detail that I think he can read really, really fast, almost instantaneously. He can retain information on pages, because there's a scene when he's meeting Sean for the first time in his room, and Sean asks him, hey, have you read these books on the top shelf right behind me? And all Will does is glance up really quickly at the top shelf and say yes, which means he looked at all those books, instantly was able to recognize all of them.
Yeah.
and then answer right away, which is a really cool detail. But I mean, he probably reads insanely fast. He could probably look at a page and then that's it. And then
he's also
the next one.
He's also got photographic memory, so he can see something just for a glance and remember it.
Well, just to play the devil's advocate, you could also argue that maybe he hasn't, but that's his defensive mechanism, where we see it many times where he often is the smartest person in the room, but he plays that up when he doesn't want to be vulnerable. So maybe he actually didn't read all those. He just threw it out there as yes, just to sound smart and sound like he was better. I do agree. He has an immense ability to retain and consume knowledge, but I do think there's a possibility that it was just part of his kind of defensive mechanism to not let anybody get close to him.
Yeah, but I think that you could be right though, because while he's doing that with him, I mean, he's reading the room. He's walking around trying to make himself comfortable, because he is trying to shield himself off from attaching to anybody. So that could have been his coping mechanism in action.
Yeah.
Which is also really insanely cool.
Yeah.
So what's happening here is he obviously solved the puzzle on the board, and now these students are coming to ask the professor, "Hey, do you know who solved it?" And he's like, "Say what?" Also, something that ties into this. This is class of 72. He was roommates with Sean. This character here, the professor, we'll learn later, was roommates with Robin Williams' character, who had served in Vietnam. So doing the math, if he did a 4-year degree, he graduated in 72, which it's established that Robin Williams' character is from this same alumni class, because they always talk about, hey, you weren't there at this one. That would mean that he had to been in earlier Vietnam, not late post Tet where everything went to crap Vietnam. So
Interesting.
Just an interesting thing for me is that it kind of does line up, but so
was
who knows?
Sean
Maybe he
and
was in like
him
he might have been in earlier, like 66, like We Were Soldiers kind of thing. Maybe he was, caught up in all that or whatever.
Were they a Nam together?
No. He Sean did Nam and then he went into college.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see which one he was. I don't think he was an officer or anything. But because if he would have been enrolled in college, he could have got out of going.
Yeah.
And it's established that his character is from Southie, just like so maybe what he did is he probably went to Vietnam and he went on a GI Bill. Plus he was really smart too, so he might have got in that way.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. And this guy always hitting on the his female students.
Yeah, that was kind of a
yeah, she's like, I have a question, Professor. And he's like, I bet you do. Yeah. Like, no, it's no, Professor, like a legitimate one. I promise.
But yeah, the whole thing, this is kind of the start of everything, because they put that math problem out there that's not impossible to solve, but it's meant to kind of get the students to work together and think through things and get their brains moving. And it's basically been solved in, from at least what I gathered, the most mathematically beautiful way possible. Like it's damn near perfect.
Here's a question. What are the chances that these days, when he calls everybody in there and he's like, okay, who solved it? Some clout chaser would have been like, I did. Even though they knew they were going to get caught, that they couldn't prove it, they would claim it. Nowadays, they just couldn't help themselves. They'd put it on TikTok.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that nobody did step forward, because there were a lot of rewards in store for the person who solved this. I mean, they were going to be talking to like the most prestigious, professors in the world. They were going to get recognized, put in the paper. It's kind of surprising that nobody was like, yeah, Professor, it was totally me. I did it. Right. I can't do it again, though. I'm tired.
Yeah. Right. And then wasn't she on, she was in something, right? This girl here.
Is she the girlfriend in Clerks? Or maybe not.
Oh, maybe.
No way. I must
or something
be,
like that, or Chasing Amy or something like that.
That can't be the girl from Waterboy. No, it's no way.
No, that's not what's her name from Waterboy. No. This looks real familiar. Could just be the hairstyle.
So they're hanging out at a kids' ball game, and they're like, dude, we're totally going to beat that guy up later. It was like, he used to pick on me in high school.
Yeah, you talking about the track
middle
suits?
School.
The track suits you were talking about, that they're always wearing the jacket.
Yeah, well,
I had a track
but
suit.
he's got the jacket, right? But Ben Affleck's always wearing like a pullover kind of thing, where it doesn't have like a front to it. You just pull it over. It's like a warm up thing for baseball.
Nice.
He's like, you knew that guy, right? Yeah, he beat me up.
I mean, this is also just such a slice of life for like lower income areas of like big cities where it's like
Yeah.
you don't really have anything to do except or a lot of people see themselves as not having anything to do other than just kind of sit around and drink and do these meaningless jobs that they hate and then so they can get more money to go drink again.
Yeah.
Did you notice while they were at that ball game, they had paper bags on
What?
their beers?
That way
Yeah.
nobody knows.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
totally a
Yep.
Coke in a paper
Totally a Coke
bag.
in a paper bag. Yeah.
It's a Coke.
Mm.
I like this part. He's like, give me my sandwich. No, I'm going to put it up here and it's on layaway. You can slowly pay it off.
Hey,
Yes.
by the way, what's this thing Roman's talking about with your 5 raccoons, Jacob? Is it something you want to share with us, sir?
Well,
you
since
talking about,
Jacob
Roman?
has
What are you talking
gotten
about?
better internet, the raccoons that normally go after him have been coming after other people. So Roman is warning me that apparently several of them are on my property, but I can assure you, I am prepared.
Yes.
Roman, I spent
Yeah.
20 years doing a meaningless job for beer money. Yeah.
Is it a 5-shot or 6-shot?
That one's a 6. But
Okay,
there are others
good.
around
You
here
have an
that are much easier
extra
to
round
reload.
just in case.
Okay, this is very off topic, but to quote an exchange from the TV show Hell on Wheels, which you haven't seen, I recommend. Let's see, what is it? You can't. He can't kill all of us, boys. I figure I can kill about 5 of you. Hear that, boys? He ain't even fully loaded. He's only got 5 shots. Oh no, I got 6 shots. I was just gonna shoot you twice.
That's
One
actually
of my
really
favorite
good.
lines in TV.
It is a good show.
Anyway, back to Boston.
Like, all you have to do is shoot the five ringleaders, and then the rest will scatter.
Sorry, they've got rings on their tails. Now I'm thinking ringleaders, and anyway, never mind. Goodwill hunting. That's what we're here for, not raccoons.
Now, I can't remember
Yeah.
if they stopped the car because of Will's insistence or
It
like
was
they're
it
just
was
like,
his insistence. It was Will's insistence. He's like, "Hey, there's that guy." He's like, "Stop the car," and he gets
Yeah.
out and he just goes over and
Well,
then
first they see one of them throws a beer bottle at a woman on the street, and he's like, "Stop! I think that's what makes him stop, because they were picking on somebody else, and he's like, let's let these guys have it."
okay. Yeah. Oh, and they
Yeah,
know it's coming too.
I've never actually done something like this, but I got real close one time whenever I saw a dude chasing a woman. She was running into the ditch towards the street, and he had like a 2x4 in his hand, like getting ready to smack her with it. I was riding with my mom, and I just said, "Stop, pull over." And I had one leg out of the car before I realized that like 6 Mexican dudes were chasing that dude down, and he was not going to have a happy day.
Oh,
Oh no!
I was like, "Oh no,
There
no,
you
Mom,
go.
it's
That's
fine.
good.
We can go."
like, you guys got this? Good.
It's okay.
Okay. All right. See ya.
Yeah. It's like, we don't need to stick around for this. I don't want to be part of the police report.
And I love this guy in the back. He's like, "Oh, come on, we just got snacks. Come on." He's like, and the other
Yeah,
guy's
'cause
like,
he
"If you're
was
not out
with-
of there in 5 seconds, when I'm done with them, I'm coming for you."
Yeah.
Like, if you're one of
Man.
the boys, you got to be one of the boys.
Yeah. The gang fight
Yeah, I
in the
like
first
this part too. He's
episode.
like, "Hey, we went to school together." Hey.
Yo, Steven might actually be right about that.
I actually haven't seen Arcane. I've heard it's good, but I can't say yes or no to that.
Yeah, they're really similar, actually. Yeah, you guys should totally check out Arcane, man. It's not just a run of the mill. It's a good show.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, it is a good show,
Yeah.
and it's got the villain in it is not some 2-dimensional person either.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is our I mean, it's not really our first glimpse. I guess sitting at a kid's ball game, just getting drunk during the middle of the day, is the one of the first indications of his self-destructive behavior. But I mean,
I love that
like
this
you
kid
said,
has
like
a security
they
shirt
jump.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
I never noticed that.
I mean, like you said, they do kind of jump out to
And he's
take
like egging him
action
on.
like, in defense of somebody. But I mean, also they don't really care what happens to them.
Right. Plus, Will kind of
Yeah.
takes it to one thing that kind of led me to believe that he's got this bad self-destructiveness about him is when like this is happening possibly because Will saw someone getting picked on, so he's like, let's go beat him up. It's when the cops show up that Will just takes it too far and gets out some
Yeah.
inner feelings out of his system.
Yeah,
He takes it
everybody's
out on the
saying that's
officer.
enough, let's go, and
Yeah.
he just won't stop.
Nope. That's a pretty good kick to the face, though. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Bam.
Oh,
He's got to have whiplash in the morning.
this dude's not helping
Yeah,
out very much.
That kid's just egging him on. He's like, yeah, get him.
The only thing different from today is nobody has a phone out while they're saying, yeah, get him.
And also the cops show up really quickly.
Yeah, right.
Like they were literally down the street.
Yeah.
I kind of get the feeling that
the
in this
neighborhood,
area
they might
they're
have been
just
down
kind
the
of
street.
expecting it. Yeah. They're kind of just expecting it and on the lookout for this sort of thing. That's kind of
maybe
the
he
feeling I
ran
got.
right past them. Maybe they were just like drinking some coffee. He's like, excuse me. Immediately starts beating up the guy inside the basketball court.
Yeah. And another thing we don't hear is police brutality. You know how they like to shove that in everything.
Nope. And this is also not Will's first time as well, which is also important to know. It's not his first time getting arrested for acting out of spite or character, whatever.
Yeah, so this is when they gather everybody together and there's more people than normal. And he asks who solved it? And out of this entire room, not one person was like me for the clout or for the engagement. See, they didn't have all that stuff back then.
I almost wanted somebody to stand up. Oh, I did it, Professor. And it's like, oh no, you didn't. Because that guy doesn't.
I've seen your work.
Yeah, it's like you're barely passing with a C. Sit down.
I just can't stand the lack of diversity in this movie, though. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is kind of flabbergasted that nobody stands up because he would think that of all the people here, that this is a big deal for people who are math people. So that's why his class is crowded as it is. So everybody expects that somebody is going to take credit for it. And the fact that nobody does, it's just hard for them to kind of process. Because you would expect somebody who could do that level of math would be there and claim it. Instead, he's in jail.
I believe that this is where he's doing the second one because they put up another problem.
Right. Mm-hmm. They were like, okay, now we're going to put one that took me and the other colleagues here at the university 2 years to prove. So so it took the professor and the other people in his department, like other co-professors, 2 years to prove this equation. And they see him working on it, and they're like, "Hey, stop!" And obviously he knows how to get away. So,
despite there being a mystery person who has solved the previous one, his first inclination, being it's night, no students are there, and he looks like he's the janitor, which he is. I mean, his first inclination is, you can't write on that. That's for like student crowd work. Your graffiti isn't allowed here. Like he immediately jumps to there's no way this person could be the one that did this. Of course, which he is quickly humbled and realizes absolutely he is the one who did it.
Would have been funny if he would just been like, "What is this crap? What did you write on here? Erase this."
Like it's
not the
beyond
answer.
his level of understanding.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Today somebody would have messed it up.
Yes.
This math is racist.
Yeah, I agree, Stephen. You can see how many times he's like jealous that he's not receiving the attention. It's like, oh, I was the prodigy. Now I'm not. I'm just the guy that like goes and gets coffee.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that guy was a good character too, because he was basically feeling what everybody was thinking. It's just like this, like, really, dude, this kid from South, he is smarter than any of us and is putting us all to shame.
Yeah.
And one of the best scenes ever, they go to the bar.
Steven, Maths Damon.
Math Damon.
Maths Damon. You got to say maths like you're British.
Math.
Oh, that's the GB. It didn't come up in
Like, this is a
the
Harvard.
text. That was
This is a Harvard bar.
Harvard bar.
I like
the reason they can get in here is the bouncer knows him, so he lets him in without,
Yeah. Back in the day, one of the retail places I worked at, a regular customer that was born and raised Boston before moving down to the Houston area, and he absolutely talked like that Harvard boss sort of things. Like, I could hear him anywhere in the store. I'm like, oh, that's that dude over there.
Well, looking at this bar and all the people in it, like, are these guys really that out of place? I mean, like, with physical appearance, I mean, they don't really look like the kind of dudes that would stand out, and yet they are like that. They are, people do notice them and start talking. They start questioning them, which I find interesting because they honestly look relatively normal, unless they're really paying attention to Chucky's face wounds, which are really obvious.
Well, I mean, I know they know the bouncer, but maybe they don't come in here very often. And if this is a kind of known as the school bar, you might recognize everybody who comes in normally. So when you get a new face in, especially if it's not like in a new school year or a new semester or whatever, that they might stand out that way. But they know True. The bouncer, so I have a hard time thinking they hadn't been in here before.
I think nobody gives a crap.
Also, some of these guys at the bar. Yeah, but some of these guys at the bar just look like regulars.
That one there, that
like
dude with the
guys
KE hat on or whatever it is, or XX hat. That dude looks like he's 40.
Steven's got a good point. If they think themselves out of place, you'll stand out. So again, kind of self-inflicted destructive behavior, I guess.
What happened?
Yeah. This scene is really cool because, well, not because, but I think just in addition to the scene being cool, they wanted to do something funny with it. So later on, if you have seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, they do. It's Jay and Silent Bob at one point stumble onto a scene being filmed for Good Will Hunting 2 with the same guy that Matt Damon's character got into an argument with, which I guess in this time, in this iteration, the dude that he's arguing with ends up getting shotgunned, just like blown away. But they do touch upon this scene a second time in that movie, which is really fun.
Oh, this guy just looks like a yuppie rich punk.
Oh yeah,
but look at both these girls. I mean, they don't scream Hollywood. You know what I mean? They look like they're just like cute college girls.
Well, you can't have that. You can't hit on them. What are you thinking, dude? What was it that he said? The class he said world history.
Yeah,
he just said history.
He just said history.
History.
Yes,
history. Yeah.
Because
I found it to be rather elementary.
I think I had history with you.
What do you say? I remember that falling in between lunch and recess.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is when we get like the first real big display of his book knowledge. The fact that he just reads everything and retains that knowledge, because he's just like he knows it. He knows all of it, but he doesn't brag about it. He regurgitates it back as just like, yeah, you read it. Who cares? And you spend all this money learning to read this stuff when you could just like have gotten a library card and gone to a library.
He didn't just show up this guy with his knowledge. He kind of diffused the situation too, because his friend looked like he was about to just slug this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably would have caused a problem there if not for Will stepping in. Although Will does invite him into a gentlemanly brawl, to which he declines. Respectfully. Yes. And which is a key difference between these two characters. They come from completely different worlds. One is clearly smarter than the other, but one is not willing to throw their lives away. That's why he's like, no, dude, it's cool. No problem. And then Will's like, you sure? No problem. Okay. Because Will was willing to step outside and fight with the dude, but he was not, because his education means something to him. But this scene just rocks, man. I just love this scene, just the way that he schools the dude. And it's just one book too. Like it shows that like this guy reads tons of books, and it just so happened that this was one of the books that he had read, and he just reads it back to him from pure memory, which is really amazing. That's why this guy's just blown onto his haunches for a moment.
At one point, he even quotes the page number.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just wow.
Yeah, right.
And then he goes even further, and he's like, and the next thing you're going to say is this. So you're going to say this, blah, 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 about this when you read this. And the next thing you're going to do is this. Basically anticipates everything that he normally would have done to seem smart, and then shoots him down, but basically saying he wasted
and
like $150,000 just for something he could have read in a library for free.
And to make himself sound smart, and to make other people like they're stupid and don't know anything.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
He got a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, being the smartest man in the room is really empowering until you realize that you're not. Then you are the smallest person in the room. And she's just sitting back there taking all of this in, just like, oh, okay.
Will's just wearing like the most worn, ripped shirt ever.
Yeah.
Like just holes all over his sleeves.
Yeah, and let's all be honest, shirts in that condition are the most comfortable shirts possible.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I've got some great shirts that are really comfortable that I would never wear out in public because they look ratty as hell.
How do you like me now?
I like my boy's wicked smart.
Yeah. And thanks for stating the obvious, Casey.
Steven, I'm not highlighting that one.
That's right.
Yeah, she can't. I love it. She walks up and Casey Affleck's character's like, all right, I'm out. Mid-sentence. He's like, all right.
Wait, was this her like first movie?
I don't know.
Really?
Great question.
I don't know.
I do like how she just kind of comes up. She's like, man, what do you... I've been sitting over this entire time waiting for you. I'm tired. I'm going home. Here's my number. Because she can't imagine that somebody would do that and not have kind of some ulterior motive to try to get her.
You know, she was actually Irina in GoldenEye in 95.
Huh.
GoldenEye.
Let's see.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah, 95 GoldenEye. She was Irina. Then she was in Sleepers, Big Night, Grosse Point Blank. Right before she did this one, she was in Hard Rain.
Yeah, she did a lot of like TV one-shot appearances starting in '90.
She voiced Lady Eboshi in Princess Mononoke.
Oh, dude, that's crazy that she did that. That's cool.
Yep. She was in South Park, Bigger, Louder, Uncut.
It is.
She was Jane in Tarzan, the cartoon.
Jane, yeah, in the.
That's why she sounds so familiar in that movie. Wow.
She's in the Simpsons movie, The Grievance Counselor, and a deleted scene. Okay, good. Let's see. Any other big stuff? The Crash.
Yeah, Minnie's character here is really interesting. I think that she's one of those adorable ladies in the movies that I think are actually done right. And she is a really good counterbalance to Will because of the fact that she, like him, is very, very smart and witty. But she also gets down with the crowd and can hang out, which is not really something that you get from people who go to Harvard. Or at least that's not how they're portrayed in the film. Yeah. So she's supposed to be that one of those people that stands out.
This part is so good. He's like the guy. The guy knows he's there. This guy knows he's there. He sees him out of the corner of his eye, and he knocks on the window, and he just ignores him, and he just bangs on the window. Do you like apples?
I like how he responds. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I like apples." He's like, "Those aren't apples, Will. That's a piece of paper with a number on it. So you're wrong."
I mean, it also, again, like we saw earlier with Will's inability to let something even from high school go, because they're in a totally different location. They're in a Dunkin' Donuts, and then he saw them and felt the need to go over there and kind of provoke something, get a response out of somebody.
Yeah,
he just can't let things be.
Yep, ain't gonna be no drinking no Starbucks around there. That's for sure.
Yeah. And what if that guy had totally memorized that number when he had seen it? I mean, what if he had called Minnie and be like, "Hey, this is that guy from the bar. Just want to let you know I hate you and don't ever contact me again."
People weren't that petty back then.
No, they weren't. Much more so these days.
Yeah,
now they TikTok it for clout.
Oh, and not to totally get off subject, but like on Twitter last night when somebody posted their girlfriend's debit card number because she cheated.
Ooh.
Just put her debit card out there and told people go wild.
Ooh, that's real petty.
Ouch.
Yeah, that is a crime, and anybody who uses it is on the hook for a crime too.
Yep.
Wow.
These transitions, it's like it goes from them doing all that, drinking and like they're trying to pick fights or something, and that it has the transition with the music. It's like a total different. I mean, it's interesting choice to do that type of music.
Well, and
it's almost like it doesn't fit.
Yeah, there are certain moments in this that definitely feel more indie film, and some of the transitions like that with the music and the long shots of like him just riding in the car or on the train, those definitely feel more indie. And I know this was like their breakout thing, and I looked at what the budget was, but I would imagine that is just kind of there's some of their film roots kind of bleeding through onto the big screen.
It wasn't much. It was like, what does it say here? Actually, it says the budget was 10 mil.
No.
Wow. I like the music. I like the way it's kind of showing two different worlds or something. It's it's just interesting. I thought it was.
It feels different than a lot of the rest of the film. That's true. I kind of got the idea that was kind of a placeholder for large periods of time passing. Because I don't get the feeling that what we see is like what happens to his life in a week, obviously, because, you know, he's got so many weeks of therapy he has to attend. And so I just kind of looked at it as a placeholder for time passing and, you know, the bad end of town where nobody feels like anything's progressing. It just kind of feels the same every day.
Yeah.
I like this part. This is Professor so-and-so. And the janitor's like, well, this is Professor so-and-so.
We don't care. Yeah, this is where we see that what we saw was not his first run in with the cops, because he's on a parolee work program.
I love this. He's like quoting all this stuff from law books.
Oh, the liberty in my beard started tingling when he started quoting law from like the 1700s.
Yeah. I love the judge. And then the judge is like, enough of this.
You were brought.
You hit a cop, you go in.
Yeah. It's like, you came in for this and you quoted, you know, a law from the 1800s and you got away with that. Then you came in for this and you quoted a law, another law from the 1800s, got away from that. I don't care. This time you hit a cop.
Yeah.
He's been a pain in the butt for that legal system for a while. And let's be honest, no judge wants to be made to look a fool by somebody under 21 over and over again. Eventually the judge is just going to say, screw it, I don't care what you did, you're going in.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. Calls her from jail.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that this is just pure arrogance on his part, or does he think that he's going to get out somehow?
That's a good question.
Does he just live life on the fly, like as per this, and just be like, you know, yeah, I'm in jail, I'm still going to ask around a day because, you know, who knows what's going to happen, or does he really think that that he's going to get out early?
I kind of wonder if he's just so socially inept that this is the first time he found himself with a phone call and he didn't care who he called, so he called her. I don't know. That's a really good question.
Didn't he?
Because he's definitely in a situation where it's not going to be easy for him to get out.
Any law?
Yeah.
He asked her if she's done any laws. So like, he's going to ask her on a date and say, "Hey, could you come get me out of prison?"
Yeah. I don't know. They kind of already discussed that. Like, I don't know. Did he already mention like, or I guess they haven't gone out, so they haven't really talked about her financial situation. So I guess he wouldn't assume that she'd bail him. I don't know. Maybe you're right about him just being that confident that he'd find some way out of it.
Yeah. It's something that I've wondered about. It's just like, why could the question that kept popping up is like, why is he calling her from jail like he's going to get out like tomorrow? And it's going to take her out on a day, unless a part of him thinks that someone's going to bail him out, or he thinks it's just not going to stick and he's going to get out. I mean, he's obviously been around. I mean, he's got a pack of cigarettes in his interrogation room when that professor comes in to talk to him. You know, he's already dealing. He recognizes this person right here. It's like, hey, I haven't seen you since juvie.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly knows his way around.
Yeah, I could totally believe that he just thought he was going to find some way out.
Yeah.
unfortunately, that sort of interaction of people meeting in jail is not uncommon, at least from the stories I hear from my brother that works in one. It's the same groups of people all the time, over and over again. They all know each other.
And this guard is like, you can tell he's miffed. And Will says, "Nice talking to you." So he said something to him to make him mad. So he's like, the judges said that you can be out on my supervision and you have to go to a shrink or something.
Yes. Which he finds hilarious because he knows exactly how that's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. He's like, wouldn't it be better to do that than to sit in here the whole time?
Yeah. Having not seen this until recently for this review, but seen all the ads, I was surprised how long it took Robin Williams to show up in here. And I started to get kind of what I early on with Stellan Skarsgård's character, you kind of get that kind of like, you know, I want the best for you. And it's not only until later that you realize that he's kind of selfish in his motivations. And then that's about the time that the Robin Williams character steps in and actually becomes the more caring individual in Will Hunting's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was
so now Will is out of jail.
Like he pats him on the head. It's like, it's a little weird.
I got the impression that they had been doing this for a while by this point, because otherwise that's pretty familiar with him for only knowing him for a little while. Kind of almost creepily so.
In that moment that he like
and this guy's
his
like,
hair, you can see this guy in the background staring at them.
Yeah, he's a jealous brother.
He's like,
jealous
that used to be me.
I was the prodigy.
And he's reading this guy's book. Is this?
Oh yeah, that's the guy he has to get. That's the guy he has to get. He has to go to therapy with.
Yeah.
and which you don't know yet when you're seeing this scene, but he's reading the guy's book, figures him out before he even walks into the room.
Yeah, that's the analog version of Googling somebody before you meet them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely no psychologist, but
and he says
his like drive to disarm somebody so that he doesn't have to feel like he's been disarmed. It's a not an uncommon defensive mechanism for people who don't want to let anybody be close. They don't want to open themselves up and feel vulnerable. They kind of go after the other person involved.
By the way, this shot here is a foreshadowing. He has a Cobra shirt on. Cobra, the car.
Oh, right.
And later on, he plays Shelby.
For?
Okay, I got you now.
Shelby.
Okay.
He plays Shelby in Ford versus Ferrari.
I got you. It took me a while, but I got there.
I like this part. He's like, do you find it hard to cover up you being gay? And the guy's like, what?
And he's right too, because the guy's like, I can't do this. He's a lunatic. He's crazy. Ruin his reputation.
He's out there flirting with students again.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I don't have time for that loony in there.
No.
I mean, what's great is
he also says something
this so-called.
Go
ahead.
It's like he says
he
I
says,
can't do this pro bono because like he's having to find therapists to come in and do this for free because he wants this kid out to do math and stuff, but he's not invested enough to actually spend money on it. And this is when we start kind of getting a glimpse into how selfish he is, because he doesn't really care. If he really cared, he'd try to spend some money, but he's basically asking for favors.
Ah, that's something I didn't think about. He really does go to the cheap route, doesn't
Will
he?
too. This psychiatrist is like supposed to be smart, and the psychiatrist doesn't even get that that Will has, knows what to say to tick him off.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even smart enough to figure out that he's been played.
Yeah, that's right. I guess that's what we see later with Robin Williams' Sean character. Is he knows that the buttons are being pushed for a reason.
Yeah.
They still work most of the time, but at least he recognizes it.
Oh yeah, this was a good one too.
Start singing Afternoon Delight.
Afternoon Delight. And this guy's like, it's a not so subtle dig at like hypnotherapy in general, which has a lot of problems with actually being reliable.
It's amused.
It's like, nope, I'm out. I'm just now realizing it. He looks the way he Stellan Skarsgård's dresses in this show is a lot like his character dress for a lot of his scenes in Andor.
Oh,
yeah.
Which the show had a lot of problems, but I don't know. That it just hit me right now. I was like, oh, he looks exactly like the character from Star Wars.
I thought he was the best part of that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they still kept him cooped up in an antique room. That guy should have been in the field. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy of that range should have had him out there with Andor in that show. Not that I'm going to go into detail on Andor, but that's just my thought on his character.
Yeah.
I love that part where they've got him in the tractor beam, and he does something with his ship and just releases all this metal, and it like takes out the.
See, there were great things in
beam.
that, but there's just so many missed opportunities. But we don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
No.
We're here to talk about good things, good movies.
Yes. We're here to talk about goodwill.
Yes.
So we see like two therapists that he's gotten through, but I kind of got the feeling that there were more than just those two, because otherwise, why would he go to the community college to a guy that he knows, but has obviously had division in their friendship, whatever, in the past? It's like this is his rock bottom option. It's like you are my last chance to keep this kid out of prison so that I can do math things and get my name in papers.
What does he ask this guy? He asks him like, what's the most important thing to gain trust with a client or something?
I think so.
I forget.
I can't remember the answer.
Yeah, neither can he.
Yeah. I like that the girl that's in the shot before him, he just calls her out. It's all right. Could you stop with the oral fixation? All right. I'm trying to remember what the line is because he turns it into a joke in a little bit that's got some innuendo. And everybody laughs and he makes comment about everybody actually paying attention again. Vulnerability. Yeah. He said something. Yeah, because he said something about I always try to nail them when they're vulnerable, and everybody like laughs. But I mean, that's true for any time that you're trying to get to know somebody. Everybody, if they've got their walls up, you're not really going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude almost gave like a Ferris Bueller answer. Who's this guy? Some old dead dude. So crates, man.
So crates.
Not very happy to see him. Some hurt feelings.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Jerry.
All right. Like he knows his personality. He knows that he's there because he wants something. He's not just there to say hi.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, hello, Jerry. Newman.
Newman.
So, yep, this is Professor so-and-so. I am smarter than him, and he knows it, but he took all the glory in our younger years. Give him a warm welcome.
I like what he says. We're going to be talking about Freud next week and why he took enough cocaine to kill a small horse.
I like Roman's theory. It's that shirt. It makes people angry.
Yeah.
It's definitely a 90s shirt.
Ooh, Steven's got a good point here. He's a symbol of regret, Robin Williams' character.
Oh, wow. Nicely put, Steven.
That's a good point.
Well said.
Yeah. Yeah, so we get why there's more than one reason why there's a rift between them too. And this one, he's like, when was the last time we saw you? Before my wife's death.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And he says, I was out of town at a conference. And he's given his little excuse, and Sean just interrupts him and says, I got your letter. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Some bitterness there.
And this part, these guys just throw down anywhere, and they're like at a kid's place and they're wrestling.
Yeah,
that's basically Chuck E. Cheese on a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. Once again, they're in an establishment with where a bunch of children are and acting like kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what Affleck says. He's like, come on, just submit already. You can tell he's really
Sean's
interested in what he's saying too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's being reminded while that guy's describing Will to him, he's being reminded of himself. And kind of, I can't remember if he says that at some point in the movie. I think it reminds him of himself, or if it's just kind of something I picked up. But yeah, he's definitely interested. I also find it funny that Sean asks him, he's like, how many therapists did you go through before you came to me? And starts naming off the guys by name. You know, I assume they all know each other really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Price. Yes.
Yeah, and again, obviously, he knows that the only reason he's there is because he has no other option. Sean knows he's the last choice.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know why I didn't go to him sooner, because he knows that they're both from the same neighborhood, roughly.
Yeah.
Kind of almost
Yeah.
the same trajectory. Like, he's really smart.
Well,
You know,
it's the same reason that that he's upset with this guy. I mean, he didn't want to go to him because it would have been uncomfortable.
oh, right. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Because of the whole wife dying and him not really just sending a card or whatever.
And I love how he's like, how many therapists did you get beforehand? 5? And he starts naming them off, and they're all the same guys.
Yeah. I mean, the story that Sean tells later on about going to a game and choosing to not go to the game because he had to see about a girl. I kind of wonder if was it Stellan Skarsgård at Lambeau? His character was one of those friends that went to the game and became a career like ladder climber, sort of seeking attention and like fame as far as mathematicians and things go. And I wonder if that's what we're seeing between these two characters is the different routes that Will Hunting's character could end up. Because Skarsgård's character is obviously trying to groom him towards the school and being like going in and doing math for the sake of doing math. Well, whereas Robin Williams' character is like, just, dude, live your life. You've got all the time to be the smartest man in the room. Go live your life, and then that can wait till later.
Yeah. This is their first. I think this is their first time right here, right?
Like, right. Like he's saying he's probably already read your book.
Yeah.
Let's let the healing begin.
That's right. By the way, if you hear screaming children, they are mine.
Okay.
You know, the fact that you pointed that out makes me doubt the statement. I just would have assumed so.
What?
Yeah, but now because I mentioned it, now there's doubt sowed. So yes, this is a good scene right here. Will so Sean's trying to reach Will and trying to find some way to get some communication going. Will's already measuring the room. He's already looking around. He's testing to see if he can be comfortable in it. He's very defensive. He's probably scanning to see what he can attack the guy with, just like the previous dudes. So they do a really good job of helping you understand what Will is trying to do here, because he's done it already with several of the therapists.
Right, and those previous therapists were so shallow in their identity that it was easy for him to glean who they were based on stuff, not on actual personality or character. But he doesn't really get that here because he's not dealing with somebody who is that easily rattled, that is so shallow.
Well, this guy has been in Vietnam.
Those other guys were like, those other guys had all this stuff in their offices. Like, look at me, look what I've done. You know, look how great I am.
Right.
And to Robin here, this is just stuff to him. You know, this is stuff he's had to read for his job. It's not anything more than that. So Will's got to figure out a different way to come at him.
Well, what also makes him a good therapist is he's actually experienced a lot of the same kind of negative things that those other people probably didn't. Those other professors and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, they might have been born into wealth. They didn't have to really work for, I mean, I'm just saying they didn't like work to hone their craft, but they didn't have a bunch of significant emotional events like Robin Williams' character did to start with. So he has more worldly experience, and he goes into it later when he talks to Matt Damon's character Will about like, you can tell me everything there is to know about the Sistine Chapel, but do you know what it smells like inside?
That is a fantastic
Yeah.
monologue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I want to use that analogy
it
for
is.
all these. We're going to update this comic for the modern day. We know better than you how to write a comic about something, or do this movie, or we're going to reboot it, and you know, and then you ask what their credentials are, and they haven't done diddly squat, been anywhere, done anything, you know,
And
experienced anything.
you look up some of those guys that created those great stories and characters. They lived it. They were either in Vietnam. They've seen a lot and know the world more than
Right.
the young morons we got coming out today.
Right.
Yeah, just life experience through age. Even if you don't go to extremes and experience all these things or travel the world, makes you a more compassionate person. That's why I think that, like, people who go from high school to college to becoming teachers are some of the worst teachers. There are exceptions, but the best teachers, and I'm gonna brag on my dad here, because he didn't start teaching until like 15 years ago or something like that. And I think waiting until you have that experience of age makes you better at connecting with people. And jobs like teaching, therapists, and such like that should go to the people who have had more life experience than less.
Mm.
Yeah.
Roman, we're not going to talk about your age because we only have so many fingers. We can't count back to like 178 or whatever you are.
We can't do the math. Will might be able to do the math, but we can't.
Yeah, I don't have my abacus handy.
So he's seeing all these, the Vietnam photos.
Yeah.
And he's not looking because he's interested. He's looking to find something to dig at.
I always kind of thought it was
Robin's
both.
character name?
Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be both.
I always kind of thought it was both, where it was a mixture of him trying to find something to attack him with, maybe just like by habit because it's just something that he does, and then him like walking around the room while conversating. I was watching this movie once with somebody that suggested that it was a way for him to. It was kind of like him, like a cat when you let them loose in your house. They explore, see if it's a comfortable place for them to be and to be open with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I always thought that this was kind of him sizing Sean's life up.
I mean, it could be a lot here because he also could be like what it looks like going around seeing where he could attack, but he's seeing probably. I think what you see on his face when he sees that military photo is he's seeing more depth to this person than he probably has seen with any other therapist that he's seen previously.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree. It does feel like he's just feeling out the room. Like, which corner do I feel safest in? I don't want to pay attention to you right now, so I'm just going to go over here and kind of explore and that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he really can't. It's kind of hard to knock him for his service, right? You can't really insult the guy. It's like, oh, so you were a knob, huh?
Right.
Oh, you saw war. Oh.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of a.
Oh, hey, Nadia. Nadia's here.
Yeah, hello,
Nadia. See, now it's a party.
Yeah, how's it going, Nadia?
You know, she doesn't come in and say what a beautiful panel when you're not here, Dread. So I think we know who she's talking about.
I thought she's talking about you guys.
Yeah.
No, that can't be true.
Or none of us. She was just talking about the beard.
Yeah. Maybe she was talking about Sean.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I really love here how Sean is, because if you pay attention to the conversation, like Sean's trying several different avenues of trying to at least get a conversation going between, like, talking about lifting weights, about like what kind of books he reads. And Will is constantly shutting him down or changing the subject, just trying to be as avoidant as possible. And you actually start to see Sean get a little bit panicky when Will, right here, as you can see here, is approaching the painting, and is starting to figure out a little bit about Sean, but he of course ultimately gets the wrong idea. But Sean sees that he's about, like, that's why, he stands up here, walks towards him, starts like saying, "Do you like art? Do you like music?" Starts throwing rapid fire questions at him, because the truth is that Sean does not want Will to approach this painting, and he sees that he is, which is why he stands up and approaches him, and he's like, "Hey, come back here, let me do my job. Yeah, you figured it out, haha."
Wow, that's cool.
And I think Will understands that, and that's why he goes in for the kill.
Yeah, they're both kind of doing the same thing. They're looking for inroads to disarm the other person. Now, Will's character is doing it because it's kind of malicious. Like, he doesn't want to let anybody in. And Sean's doing it because that's kind of his job, is you need to find an inroad to get people to start sharing so that you can make progress. And this is where he realizes that he's not dealing with a normal person. And he finds himself on the receiving end of basically some rough kind of therapy from somebody who thinks they know, but he does get it wrong. But
true.
This is, I think, why the next time that we see them together, he just sits there and he realizes he can't say anything. He has to wait for Will to make a choice.
Yeah.
Because anything he does is just like feeding the fire.
Yeah, that's good, actually. Yeah.
Cord. Oh man. But yeah, he starts reading into "You Married the Wrong Woman," and he knows there's something here, but he knows there's emotion there, but he's kind of so incapable of processing normal human emotion and interaction that he gets it way wrong.
Yeah.
I like that.
You mess with the wrong dude.
He takes his glasses off. That should have been a warning sign to stop.
Yep.
Yeah, when he steps up and says, he defends his wife's name. That right here. This is a little bit more than growling, but it's something my dad has said for years. Sometimes people need to hear you growl. So even if you're a kind, compassionate, and peaceful person, sometimes people need to hear you growl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Will saw that nom
if you ever
too.
disrespect my wife again, I will end you.
Yes. Hey, look at the title of that book right there. I'm okay.
That's actually
okay.
I'm okay.
That's great.
I wonder what the rest of the title is, but I don't really care. It's just great for this, like, because we've got the therapist, the guy who's supposed to break down emotions and kind of control things. He's lost control here. And I don't know if it was intentional. I have to think it probably was. He got a book there that says I'm okay, while the guy who should be okay is not.
It's funny, man.
Yeah.
That might have been intentional. That is actually really funny.
Yeah, I didn't notice that while watching it. I only noticed it right now with the freeze frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing the things you see when it's all freeze frame.
Exactly. Yeah, they're like, how'd it go? It's like, swimmingly. Can't wait. Can't wait to see him next week.
Yeah, I mean, anybody would be able to read the energy coming out of that room when Will left. So it's very plain why he would assume, like, oh, you're done with him too, aren't you? And then he's like, nah, Thursday at 4.
Yeah. It's possible that Sean wasn't
Yeah.
taking the thing seriously until the guy, as Sean says later, ripped his life apart with that one statement about the painting.
Mm-hmm.
Probably took it. He probably took it upon himself, kind of like a challenge. It's like, I won't feel better until I really do get a piece of you and figure out who you are. So maybe that was a turning point for Sean.
It's also possible he's looking at it as, I mean, because he's clearly a brilliant character as well. And he knows that there is a turning point where Will's character can go one of two ways. And he realizes that if somebody's not there to connect with him, it could go really badly. Like he says later on,
True.
Unabomber.
True. Yep, left his dishes, didn't even do his dishes because he's all he can think about is what Will said. That's how much of an impact he had.
Yeah.
He's drained a couple bottles and he's on a third.
Yeah. He's kind of like me, looking for anything else to do that isn't the dishes.
My first apartment never had an empty sink.
Am I coming through okay?
Yeah. Yeah, you're good, Jacob.
It seems like I'm lagging. I'm lagging behind y'all.
There seems to be a little bit more of a delay than there was last time, but you're coming through clear.
Okay. You know what?
So if we step on you, I apologize.
I'm gonna pop out for a second and come back. I'll be right back.
All right.
Sorry. Be right back.
No problem. All right, so this is our stream now. We're taking over. Jacob's gone forever. We're going to talk about a new movie.
You got to put your finger on your thumb. This is the best stream ever. Look, I didn't say that. That's what people tell me. That people tell me it's the best stream ever.
People always talk about the streams that I'm on. They say they're pretty good. I don't say that myself. They do.
I would never say that. I'm not that kind of person.
Yep.
That picture of the guy in the rowboat in the storm reminds me of, have you ever been to a business or a workplace that has those motivational posters on the wall that are like, you know, teamwork makes, synergy and all that kind of stuff? I had this this lieutenant, he had this in his office. It was a picture of, it's a famous picture from like the 1800s called The Storm, where it's got guys on a raft and it's like in a big waves getting ready to crush it over. And the caption underneath it was said that maybe the only purpose of your life is to be a warning to others as to what not to do. Like that's your destiny in life, is bad stuff to happen to you, so you're a warning as to what not to do.
That's one hell of an inspirational poster.
Yeah, he had a whole bunch of messed up ones like that in his office. Like, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, yep, exactly. Right, you're the one that gets, that burns their hand on the stove, so other people know not to touch it.
I mean, there is some truth in that, but that's not exactly uplifting in every person's moment of life.
Nope.
I think being the youngest, I got that. I got to see what my brothers and sisters did. So,
yeah, I'm the oldest. I'm the experimental one. So everybody got to look at me and go, "Oh, let's not do that."
I just want to say, I think Robin Williams was a caveman. I mean, look at those arms. I mean,
he's got hair one of the hairiest dudes. You know that the back of his hair connects to his back hair. Like it just it goes from forehead all the way back.
You could make an entire hat out of his arm hair. Amazing. Yeah, dude, that dude's messed up in this scene, dude. Oh my goodness.
He really steals his show, I think. Out of all of the cast, I think he really steals it.
I agree.
And I think that's partly because you expect him to be this funny kind of comedic off the cuff.
Would you say he's in his prime here as far as acting goes? Well, because he won an Oscar for this.
I think he probably was.
Yeah. Yep.
I think this was him at his best for sure.
I mean, the late 80s through the 90s was just wow. One hit after another.
And I don't remember if it was Robin Williams. I think it was. It was some comedian talking about, and it's true with many comedians, and I'll try to be short with this, is that their comedy comes from tragedy in their past. Like whoever it was I'm thinking of, I can't remember. Like their family was basically living out of their car, and as the older sibling, he took on the role of trying to lift the spirits of his brothers and sisters or whatever, and that's where the comedy was born. And again, I can't remember if this was Robin Williams that said this, but when you think about it that way, it makes sense that some comedians could dip into that dark, tragic past and really put on a good dramatic performance. So I think that this is probably him kind of pulling from that history that he has experienced himself, that he used comedy to distance himself from, and then delivering one of the best performances of his life here.
Yeah, and I think the director probably knew how relatable Robin Williams would be as a character too, just because most of the 90s he had been in so many movies. So by this point, so many people were in love with Robin that it would probably he probably knew it would come very naturally to audiences to be on this dude's side in this movie. And
yeah. Thanks, Steven. He says that was Jim Carrey that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, this is, we see this, like I think you said earlier, adorkable. Like she's more than just this like smart person that's trying to study hard. Like she actually has a bit of goofiness, kind of that 90s manic pixie girl sort of mentality.
Yeah, because she came into an inheritance from her parents, but here she is with a guy from Southie just hanging out at some, at some novelty store. This is probably what Will sees in her. She's like, man, like this chick's cool. She's doing a whole bunch of stupid stuff and doesn't even care.
Yeah, because when they first met, he made that comment about wasting money on education to that one guy, and when she approaches him, he kind of like apologizes, like, "Oh, I didn't mean you." And now he's seeing that she actually is different from everybody else that he probably experienced going to Harvard.
Wow. She's like, "What do you think?" He's like, magic trick." You won her over with that one.
Yeah.
It's such a great back and forth between them here.
Yep. Now all she needs is a southern accent and to go noodling for catfish.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
This is great. I know what you're thinking. I know what you want.
Then it would be hook, line, and sinker for me.
Yeah. I know you're wanting a good night kiss. He's like, I was wanting a good night lay, but I'll settle for a kiss. And this is the most just like weirdly believable thing is they both got a mouthful of hamburger and they say, whatever, let's just go ahead and do this anyway.
Yeah, very natural.
I mean, neither one of them is trying to be perfect.
Oh, what,
Oh,
I
I
wonder
didn't notice
if
he's got the POW sign in the
the
back.
POW. Yeah, I didn't notice that either.
Wait, is that supposed to imply that he was a prisoner of war?
No. Most veterans will have something like that. He wasn't a prisoner of war, but it became very popular with during the Vietnam era to have that, and that flag still gets flown all over the place even now. State capitals will have it underneath. It'll be the only thing they'll fly uh, besides the state and U.S. flag.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a really big deal. Uh,
Yeah.
Most all dining facilities I've ever been to in the military on a permanent base will have a POW table. It's basically a table that's left empty. It's got a white tablecloth on it. It's set for one, and it'll have a lemon slice and salt on it. For the lemon is for the bitterness of the like their capture or internment or whatever, and the salt is for tears. Is basically what it represents.
Wow.
And
dude, that
yeah,
is so cool.
Huh.
they replace that stuff every day. It's a really big deal, and nobody can like go mess with it or sit it at or anything.
Wow.
Dude, that's crazy. I was infantry for
Hmm.
years. I never
Interesting.
even knew that. That was a cool detail.
Yep.
I mean, the only other thing that I heard like that is like setting a place at the dinner table for like Dia de los Muertos. Is you set a plate for your departed loved ones. So that's
Wow.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Whenever we had a function that we went to, usually your dress blues or whatever, um, you would they would always have like a little ceremony for that. That'd be when the chaplain came out. That'd be one of the prayers and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So, yep.
I've known a lot of guys that have been in the military, but I only know one guy that got killed, and it was he was on a aid mission, and a helicopter just had a malfunction and crashed.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you were in during like the whole global war on terror era, 2001 to 2019, then yeah, there were quite a few people that had something would happen to them. But uh, as far as the Air Force
Yeah.
goes, normally it would be like a car accident or you know somebody
Hmm.
unaliving themselves or something. That would be the reason that they wouldn't be around anymore. Sometimes it'd be an accident. Very rarely it'd be some combat related thing. Um, but yeah, usually it'll be if you're gonna lose somebody on active duty, it'll be to an accident mostly.
wow.
Yeah. This is the monologue, right?
Yes. It's the big one.
This is where
Yeah, he just
this is where so he thinks he's smart and he tells him some stuff, and this is where he asks him about, do you know what the inside of the Sistine Chapel smells like? This scene right here is what every Hollywood writer, comic book person, video game developer needs to hear right here.
Yeah.
All the ones that think that they're making games for the modern era and all that kind of stuff, and then wonder why their game
well,
winds up
it's
sucking and nobody wants to
it's
buy it.
what they should have been hearing from their teachers and professors. You're not special.
Yeah.
You haven't gone out and seen all this. Instead, they
Right.
get you're special. You're unique.
Yeah, this right here, if there is any chance that anybody who's currently in chat or who watches this later on, if there's any chance that you have not seen this film and you don't want to sit down and watch all of it, watch this specific scene, this short
Mhm.
little monologue
Yeah.
that Robin Williams gives in one take. It is fan freaking tastic. It'll hit you right in the gut. And let's see, what was one of my favorite parts? Is you've never known loss because you can only do that if you love something greater than yourself, more than you love yourself. And that is so true.
Yeah, that's good.
But I mean, in his defense, he's not even 21 yet. So
Right.
he's just so smart. He thinks he knows everything. And this is letting him know there's more to it out there. You know,
Yeah, knowledge and experience are different, and this is what he's trying to convey to
Right.
Will.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's two types of knowledge. There's head knowledge you get from a book, and actual physical knowledge that you go out and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't consider myself a smart man or to have any kind of wisdom or great experiences, but I know that I have more than I did when I was 20 years old. I'm not smarter
Yeah,
or more or
too.
have more wisdom. I'm just less stupid. And I think that's the best most of us can
Yeah.
hope for is throughout our age, we just get a little bit less stupid every single day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's funny.
And you don't see Will at all in
at
this.
the end of this. No. After this this scene, he's like, it's like nobody's ever talked to him like that before, or made him think about that before.
Yeah. Because everybody's been impressed by his knowledge. Nobody's pointed it out that he hasn't really done anything with it. He's gone nowhere with it.
And
Yeah,
something
except
else
to
he
jail.
says here too is something else he says here too is I don't see some smart, brilliant young man. I see a scared kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've got enough knowledge to out talk and outthink anybody, you can disarm any situation and you never have to actually recognize that you are afraid. It's a fantastic scene.
Yeah, very good.
I can't believe I waited so long to actually sit down and watch this movie. It lived up to the hype. And very rarely do I think movies live up to the hype, because usually when people like talk something way up, like, oh, it's the best thing ever, you have to see it. It's almost never that good. But this is great.
Hey, Salty.
Salty.
You know what? I have no Dunkin' Donuts near me. Is that
you
like
obviously
a
don't live on
East
the
Coast
East
thing?
Coast because they're like every
Yeah.
2
Yeah,
feet.
okay.
Yeah, I've got one here. My wife makes me go all the time.
I
Well,
remember.
Jacob, from what you've described, you live so far away from everything. There's nothing near you.
I live in a
Yeah.
hole in the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I live like an hour away from Austin, so that's too
Oh,
close
okay.
for me. But
Then there should be like a million Starbucks out there.
oh yeah, there's a million.
Here's one of those details that you don't even think about until Chucky points it out later.
What's that?
That he picks him up every day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even think of that till they get into that discussion later on in the film.
That's also a good scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
think
can't.
construction would be a
I have a
fun
hard time
job.
believing that this is like an OSHA approved thing of just flinging cinder blocks over the edge without looking.
Yeah, just throw them over the side. They're wearing a hard hat. It'll be fine.
It's a
Oh yeah,
hard
they
hat.
are kind of doing that,
Hi.
huh? They're just throwing it.
It's a
Yeah,
hot.
not even looking.
What Sasquatch donuts? Oh, Salty was saying.
Oh,
Nothing beats a good local bakery though, like one that
that's true.
actually like does real baking.
Yeah.
This is Ben Affleck's best acting.
Yeah, there's
today. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good kolache shop near me.
Kolaches.
Yeah, now Price, he's really good in the town too. I'd say Ben's really his acting is really solid in the town. But I think I'd have to agree that like this is Ben at the top of his game. Maybe it's because he wrote it and he just knows the line so well.
I've heard really good things about
well.
him in I think it's called The Accountant, but I haven't seen it.
The same. I've heard about good things, but I haven't seen it.
So I need to add that to my.
I like that part. Ever growing list. I think we all have an ever growing list of movies. I like this part. She's like, "Is this you, Professor? I told you not to call me anymore."
I can hear you breathing.
Yeah, Salty. Chasing Amy was a pretty good movie. So was Mallrats.
Mallrats is great. I actually haven't seen Chasing Amy. I feel like I should see that.
Crazy about Mallrats is I had half the wardrobe those guys were wearing. I was like,
nice.
I wear that. I have that.
And this is where he says one of the most unbelievable things to these guys who know him so well is I forgot the number.
Oh my god.
You know that they don't believe him.
Bullshit. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that face. It's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, is this the part where he doesn't say a single thing through the entire time he's there?
Yeah, he realizes that he's tapping out the seconds for a full hour.
Yeah.
And him waiting, and like he knows he can't really get anything done unless Will wants to get something done or opens up or starts conversation, is kind of similar to how like some of the best ways to approach addicts, like alcoholics and such like that. If they're not willing to start the conversation, it doesn't matter what you say, nothing good will happen.
Yeah.
So I think he realizes he's dealing with somebody that he has to just sit there and wait. And if it takes weeks of waiting for him to finally open up, that's the only way he's going to actually make any progress.
In this, he's like, he totally blasts someone else's work and does better than they did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this part's pretty messed up.
And shout out to overhead projectors. Who remembers those?
Oh yeah.
And his underling here is like, "You're a brilliant man." It's like, okay. That makes it feel better.
Like,
look
hey,
at all these
sorry for ruining your life.
Sweater patterns.
Yeah.
All these colorful sweater patterns.
Well, that was the 90s.
Oh, that's like the worst thing to wear as a kid, a sweater. It's like, Mom, it itches. Why do I have to wear this?
Yeah, that was in the 80s too.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good too. He's like, he's about to fall asleep. And then he starts to talk.
I was kind of wondering if he actually was falling asleep or was just like providing an opportunity. Because I'm torn on that. If he because he's a smart enough character that I think that he would, try to create situations that would open up conversation. But also, this is probably week 2 or 3 of just spending an hour sitting in silence. So, sometimes you drift off.
Yeah, I could see that. He's like, I'll show him. I'm so bored, I'm about to fall asleep. And after he tells this joke, he's like, what's his name again? The character? Robin's name?
Sean.
Sean, sorry. Sean's like, have you ever been on an airplane?
He's like, no, but it's funny if I tell it in the first person.
Yeah.
Oh. Steven's got a point. After a day of doing classes, he's probably actually tired. So, all right.
Yeah. I'm sure that Will was probably getting
teaches.
really tired of not saying anything either.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good part too. He's like, and she farted so loud she woke up. She woke herself up.
Yeah, and this is where you find out. This is where you find out more about his wife too. This is where Will finds out more about Sean's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Because he takes this opportunity to show Will that really quick. Just got to let you know you were wrong about the painting, because this is what happened to my wife.
And it kind of makes sense that Will would assume that she was still around because he is still wearing his wedding band.
True.
And Will's mind works so differently that he's like, why didn't you just try again? It's like, because people aren't throwaway,
Mm-hmm.
When you let yourself get close to somebody, they're not throwaway.
Mm.
I don't know. I think it's easy if you want to, especially in today's world. If you want to be alone, it's real easy to do it.
Mm-hmm. But I do like how he talks about his wife, even though she's gone. He just refers to her as she's my wife. It's like there's no other wife out there, no other possibility of a wife. It was her. And she's gone.
Remember, how long has it been since she died? Does he say?
I think it was like 2 years or something.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Yeah.
I know he said he was married to her.
He gets into her apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't an apartment.
Into her apartment building. It's like,
isn't it? This is like a dorm room or something.
He sneaks into the
even
dorms.
Got past all the checks and balances for that.
Yeah, she's like, I can't go out right now. I got to study this specific thing. He's like, all right, maybe tomorrow. And then his brain being what it is, he just goes, I can figure out that thing right now. Give her the answer, and we can go out.
Yeah. Which she actually has to correct him for later. It's like, look, you know, I actually have to study this, right?
Yeah, because his brain immediately arrives at answers. She's going into a profession where she needs to know how to get to those answers. Just because you know them doesn't mean that that's what you need to do. You need to know the process to arrive at that destination. Yeah. And he just skips straight to the end. It's just how his brain works.
Yeah. That's crazy.
She's a hard worker too. She's got an entire diagram hanging up there, like bodily anatomy, and
Yeah.
Boom. Oh, Price, you didn't like Minnie Driver or her character?
Oh.
Oh. Well, I think everyone's more or less a Jessica Alba type of person.
I don't know. Like I said about what I liked about Minnie Driver in this was that she seemed attainable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could actually roll up in there and be like, "Hey, what's up?" and maybe like, get some playback or whatever.
Right.
I had a thought
agree.
in this scene, kind of regarding going back to what I think, Dredd, you were saying about his living situation. With his brain working the way it does in statistics, I kind of started thinking he spent a lot of time at the track and made money because he could correctly predict the outcomes more often than not.
Oh yeah, he could totally Rayman like something.
So he could be a janitor or doing menial construction jobs and have throwaway beer money because he just is that good at predicting the race outcomes.
Yeah.
So he's using his mind. So he could be using his mind in unorthodox ways to get his bills paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean,
it
would fit kind of with his character, just feeling like he goes nowhere. He only does what he needs to get through the day.
Interesting. But then I actually did not like
12 older brothers.
Oh
yeah, I thought that was kind of sad that he said that, just because he doesn't he's clearly in love with the woman because of the fact that he lies, but he's generally an honest person. He didn't have to lie to her, which he also realizes later, after when she actually is around his friends. But I always kind of thought that this was a little bit heartbreaking, just because it's like, bro, there's nothing wrong with being an orphan. And it should be clear to you that she understands that there's nothing wrong with being an orphan.
But to him, it's like a sign of weakness. He's letting somebody in that close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He creates a persona, a world that he shows other people. It's not actually his world that he lives in.
Mm. Yeah, you should count cards.
Some of these shots are good. I like this shot here.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah, the cinematography doesn't really do anything that fancy or special, but it's really good when it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe this is where he talks about the game, or no, Will talks about, I don't know if he talks about Skylar in this scene, and then Robin tells him about the game.
I don't know how the game comes up, but I'm not remembering that he actually is talking about Skylar at this point. But I could be wrong.
It's like, you remember that
this
amazing
is a great
game?
Inclusion being such a local thing that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck would know that locals would really latch on to, and obviously any from that area would know exactly what they're talking about. This was great inclusion as far as history for this world.
Yeah.
All culminating, and I can't believe you went to that game. I didn't.
And he tells him him and his friends waited in a line overnight to get the tickets. And he's like, I gave it up. I had a woman to go see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Will is perplexed that Sean does not regret it. And Sean reiterates that he didn't regret giving up the tickets. He didn't regret when she got sick, and he didn't regret the years when she got real sick, which is a revelation for Will about what happened to Sean's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have been a great game, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also he says, "Well, I didn't know that what's his name was going to hit that home run when I was with the girl."
Right. Which his friends probably didn't let him forget.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, it's not that profound. It's a basic, choose to do this or that sort of thing. But when you start looking at the details of our lives, and whether or not you chose to stay and talk to a girl or go to a baseball game could have such a forever lasting impact on who you became.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some heavy stuff.
And he tells this story. This guy he was drunk. His uncle was drunk, and he gets stopped by a policeman, and as he's sitting there, he goes, "Oh, what am I doing?" He passes out, and he forgets why he's there. So he gets in the car and drives home, and then the policeman shows up the next day and says, "You took my patrol car." And he's like, "No, I didn't." And they go in the garage, and there's the patrol car sitting in the garage.
I don't know what accent
it
Minnie
sounds like a real story
does here, but like Minnie's accent is like on point. I don't know which one it is. If it's like Scottish, Irish, or what, but
it's supposed to be an Irish accent.
It sounds Irish.
Irish, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does really great.
Because she's British is kind of maybe racist. So,
But yeah, she's just getting along with his friends, no problem, completely adorable. Mm-hmm. He didn't have to lie. That was a mistake.
And that guy, Bill there, that guy with the red-ish hair, he goes on, I guess after this, he moves to Montana and goes to work at the Yellowstone Ranch. Because
that's
he winds up being Rip, that actor.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting that after, she said she wants to meet his brothers. He says, I live with 3 of them, and we'll meet them. And then this is the next scene that follows up, which kind of makes me wonder. I mean, later on, of course, he says like something like, you will meet my brothers eventually, but I kind of wonder if like he's just using these 3 guys as like the analog, the stand-in. It's like, like to him, they're his brothers or something like that. But he's still not being completely truthful with her.
Those might have been kids that the names that he gave her might have been kids that he was in like a foster parent's house or something with.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, he does name them exactly correct as the second time she asks, but I have no idea if that's like from his memory, but maybe that could be it, that those were his foster siblings, which would be cool.
Yeah.
And she proves here she can hang with the boys by telling dirty jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the one, as she slobbers her Coke out.
Oh, come on. That wasn't Coke. We all know that was Guinness.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to take your car. He's like, what?
What does he say? Like, you can drop me off first. But it's so out of the way.
Yeah. And then this is great. He repeats the joke to this guy.
Yeah.
And I love this guy over here. You didn't say that.
Nearly gets caught repeating it.
This scene is good too.
I put it in my tab. You ever
Just
plan
about
on paying your tab?
Just about every scene with these two is good. I mean,
yeah.
I love how he tries to prove his point by asking this guy who this famous, mathematician was or something. Like he's proven something.
Yeah.
And then
he asked a couple of them. One
was
was Einstein, and I think the last name he asked is his name, right? Like proving that all he's done, nobody really knows him.
Mm.
And then it gets thrown back in his face, like, "Hey, you know who Ted Kaczynski is?" Yeah. Being known does not mean it was a good thing.
Yeah. Being forced by other people to do something does not turn out good.
Yeah.
And man, they did do some crazy stuff to Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah. You can guide people and give advice, but the moment their decisions are not their decisions anymore, things rarely ever end up good. To that face, like, see my point.
I love that face. Yeah. See.
I need to screen grab that from replies on X or something.
Yes.
That'd be a good response. That would be a good response to some of those on X.
Oh, really? Hmm?
Really?
Well, Roman, it's because it's the same pattern as his shirt earlier. He really likes angry patterns.
And probably his bathrobe at home too.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, Steven's got a good point. Never give a smart person something to be angry about.
Steven's just dropping philosophical bombs in here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes. There's another good one right there.
Yeah, that's a great one.
This
Yeah.
This is great. He sends his stand-in, his buddy, to do the interview. He didn't want to go. And also, look at the hair, the suit, including the vest, and then
where
look
did
at the
he
shoe.
get the suit? That's the question. And he's wearing like
and the
white socks with stripes on them.
Yes.
I mean, the shoes,
Yeah, right.
maybe, if he had black socks on, he might be able to get away with that. And the pants were like tailored to fit.
Oh, I just got classic 70s tube
Yeah,
socks.
he's like, here, he's like, retainer. I need a retainer.
Yeah.
That suit really is too nice for Chucky.
Like, here you go. Yeah.
He's like, I need $200 today. I got 73. All right, good enough.
Yeah, it's funny too because these guys are digging through their pockets, and this guy's like, look at him like, really? They sent us this guy?
Yeah, he's having none of it.
Yeah, and the suit is too short for him. It's great.
She's like, stop doing my homework for me. If I don't study this, I'll fail. How dare you?
Yeah, this is
I
we're
do love
getting into
how
the how does your brain work sort of thing.
yeah, and how he explains it that Beethoven and Mozart are like they see a piano and they just get it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how he
Yeah.
sees math.
This is
Well,
also
I
a
don't get
very
math.
very important scene for Will, because these are one of the people. She's probably one of the only people who who tells him that if you pay attention to the way that everybody else treats him in this movie, they treat him like he's some kind of strange anomaly or like a threat because he's smarter than literally everybody else. But Skylar values his intelligence and even finds it attractive. She's like he explains it to her like, it's like Beethoven. I just see it and I do it. And then she's like, well, I can't believe that I'm just now finding you. You know, I feel like the luckiest person in the world. Like, here you are, and I found you. And that speaks a lot to Will, and probably terrifies him too, which is why, you know, we get what happens later. But she's like the only one telling him, just like, I like that you're really smart. I think it's cool, and I want to be with you because of that. And then he's like, oh, she's serious.
Yeah, it's not a novelty to her. She wants to understand it. She wants to value it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, got his nose a little bit there. Yeah, just found you. And that's probably what led her to ask him that question as well. Because she's probably seen like, hey, he's one of a kind. I'm not going to find anyone else like him.
Yeah.
So please come to California, Will.
This sort of like has to happen fight that you see in a lot of movies, especially like romantic, like rom-coms and things like that, usually feels very forced, but this feels natural, like something his character would totally be expected to do, like how you would expect him to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And her too.
I mean,
she's really smart.
She's already told him that she's leaving, and it's like, well, that's typical of people. And then she wants him to go with her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much. It's like it gets like it's like overload for him. It's like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, like he says, what happens? I get over there, you decide you don't want me anymore, and I'm stuck in California with nobody I know and no place to go and that kind of thing.
And he rapid fires a whole bunch of stuff about himself right in this scene, like that overwhelms her a little bit.
Yes,
you know, because she things that he didn't tell her about.
Yeah, and he does rapid fire to her. He just tells her everything. I'm an like, do you want me to like? Is that what you want to hear? I'm an orphan.
Yeah, that
terrible childhood.
I got cigarettes put out on me. That this isn't a surgery scar. This is where one of my foster parents stabbed me or whatever.
Yeah,
and so like she has to take all this in at the same time.
Yeah, Steven, it kills me too, man.
Yeah, this is like,
scene hurts.
He finally opens up to somebody, but he does it in the worst way possible.
And look how good she acted this. And
yeah.
Him and fucking Batflick wrote this shit, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jacob. This is how it affected me so much. that those two guys, young guys, wrote a scene like this.
Yeah. They're a lot deeper than we gave them credit for, that's for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people see Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, it's just like they probably just think it, Matt Damon and then Ben Affleck, they just think of Batfleck or Daredevil, But like these dudes are good.
Or
at least they were
Affleck,
back
or the
then.
Affleck duck.
Yes, and also, yeah. Again, I apologize. I got swept up in the moment with just how good her acting was. Look at this, and but then again, look at where both of them gone in their career, and I guess if you hang out long enough, your heroes become the villain.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
This is great because he's solved another thing, written out a mathematical proof or whatever it is, and the instant that Skarsgård's character says anything about, "Are you sure about it?" He's like, "Yes." But what about it's right? He's done with it.
Yeah.
He's done being the trained monkey for a mathematician.
Well, what he tells him here,
Yeah.
so he doesn't insult him like you're not intelligent. He says, "I don't want to just spend my life explaining things to people."
Yeah.
Which I now that I think about it, maybe that was him saying it to the professor, that I'm tired of explaining everything to you. But what I took that at in the moment when I saw it in watching the movie is that I don't want to have your job, where your job is to explain stuff to people. So I might have taken that kind of the wrong way when I watched it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Will's not blind or deaf. I mean, he's been seeing and hearing how people have like talked to him, and how they've just acted completely shattered whenever he solves the problems that have taken them years.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows that these people hate him.
We live in a society where you go to school and you get put into a box, and there are some kids who don't work like that. You can't just put them in a box because it stifles them, and they think, well, anybody who's different from these other kids, well, they've got ADHD, which might be a real thing, but they just put them on drugs instead of seeing, well, this person does well this way, or this person does well doing it this way. It's just, put them all in a box.
And you're way more likely to get put on drugs if you're a boy, because teachers just don't want to deal with a rambunctious kid running around doing stuff, but most of them won't be able to sit still for long enough to and that's not an abnormality, but they treat it like it is.
Right here, we get
one of my brothers was that way.
Yeah.
One of my brothers was that way. We were homeschooled, but my mom could see he was, getting needing to move. She'd have him go run around the house a few times, just to get that out so he could concentrate, on math.
Yeah, that's why you had gym class.
He also had a invention book that he would put all his inventions in. So he was smart too.
That's pretty cool. An invention book, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Like the chop straw. It's a chopstick within a straw.
Here you go.
So you can drink all the juice out of your ramen bowl after you eat noodles.
Nice.
Yeah. This is great because Will just straight up calls out, like, you don't value me for me. You value me for the information that I'm giving you, and he burns half of it.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I never met you.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian. I mean Nerdporial. Sorry. Just kind of, gosh.
Oh, I know. It's so terrible. You doxed his first name.
I know. How could I do that?
I know. And now I have to
Goodwill
sift through the
Porial.
other 2 or 3 million people. It's probably more than that.
Oh, this part. Gosh.
Yo, dude.
Oh,
So shameful.
Well, do you have another VCR? Oh my god.
That's my little league glove.
This guy was not doing a good thing upstairs, guys, just so you know.
No, not.
And everyone heard it.
There is some unexpectedly funny
I love
comedy
this.
in
The
this movie.
NSA. Yeah, there is.
Oh yes.
This too. Huh. You shouldn't be
And this is-
asking why you should join the CIA. You should the NSA. You should be asking why not.
And this is pre 9/11
Oh, and
too.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I going to do for you guys? Like, well, you're going to spy on innocent people. You're going to take a bunch of data and give it to us so that we can continue to spy. And yeah, that's about it. So you
and
interested?
blow up little villages and and the monologue he goes into is great.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. He goes through this whole spiel, and then Sean's just like, right, but like, what do you want to do with yourself? This was such a, I don't know how Matt does it, man, but this was such a good. I don't even know what this rant was, but it was a great rant.
Yeah.
The non-cut, because it wasn't really a cut, going from him explaining to the NSA what he would be doing and why do that when he could just skip ahead to do this, to him recounting the story to Sean, all in just that one slow pan around his face, was fantastic. I loved that shot.
Yeah, that was great.
So he repeated the story, which means he repeated word for word that entire thing that he had said to that NSA guy. That's pretty funny.
That's what I assume.
But I think what Sean sees here is that Will is reverting back to his coping mechanisms, his defensiveness.
Yeah.
And it's like Sean just like has enough of it. It's like, get out.
It's where his attachment disorder comes into play. He starts attacking Sean like brutally, like pointing out his wife's death, that he's a burnout, all these horrible things, all because Sean asked him a question
that he can't answer.
Yeah. Oh, also really important to note that because this comes up later, but that Will or Sean questions like Will's just insistence on doing construction work. He's like, well, I'm building people's houses. It's an honorable profession. It's honorable. It's like, yeah, it's honorable to build people's houses and do absolutely nothing with your God-given talents.
Yeah.
I thought of a good analogy there. It's like having a Formula One race car and all you do is drive it to church every Sunday.
Yep.
I mean, that car has a lot more potential than driving to church on Sunday. Just like he's got a lot more potential than laying bricks.
Yeah. Well, it's a good one.
Don't do it, Will. Don't tell her you don't love her. Oh, he did it. He did it. Now, I wonder if he sat in that bench because it's something that he did with Sean, and that maybe he feels if he sits there again, he's like he might be able to reflect the same way he did when Sean gave him that talking to. It's not really something I thought about much, but I assume like that bench scene is there for a reason because it parallels what they did earlier. So I was wondering if maybe he just took some pointers from Sean and just decided to try and play from his point of view for a minute. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if we go down that route, if it's true, then I could point out that he's sitting on the side that Sean was sitting on when they had that initial conversation instead on the left side where he was. So that could be kind of like having a conversation with yourself, like when you try to psych yourself out or when you do something dumb and internal, you're going, I'm stupid. Why did you do that?
Yo, that's deep. That's deep.
He's having a Gollum moment talking to himself.
Gollum moment.
Sorry, got a little too serious there. Had to make a joke. Ooh, Steven's got a point. He's never had to actually contemplate anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was expecting him to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the movie trope that so many people, even though they live in the real world, kind of expect to happen.
Yeah.
I do think this would be a fun job to tear stuff down.
Yeah.
It's like, where is he?
Is what, like an hour and a half late?
Yeah, dude, that assistant's so happy. Yeah. He's like, oh, he's gone. I'm the favorite again.
Finally. He had a little voice, the helper dude.
Price is like no mercy for Minnie Driver. I'm glad he left her. She doesn't deserve him.
This is where we get that other good talk, right?
And really, this is the only guy that's close to him. Even more so than the other two they hang out with. And it takes hearing it from someone he, is close with to make him get it.
Yeah, because he's somebody that doesn't keep him around for his mind. Like he recognizes that he has a great mind, but that's not the reason he keeps him around. And the line that he says, like, you know what, I hope every day whenever I knock on your door to pick you up for work, I hope that you're not there.
Dude, that is so messed up.
I mean, it's messed up, but also it's a weird kind of like backhanded inspirational thing, kind of like what we were saying earlier about that poster. But it's like he knows that he can do a whole lot more, and so he hopes that one day Will just realize he can do a whole lot more and just leave and just go do it and not stick around. And that's what we end up getting is he realizes he's gone and he's happy for him.
Yeah. It's really sombering to know that Chucky feels so strongly about him that he wants him to go.
Yeah. I like this too, that he's saying, I'll be here for the next 50 years doing the same job. It's like, if you're still here in 50 years, I'll kill you. It's like,
by threatening him. Yeah, exactly, Steven.
But, 'cause, 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 'cause,
Because there's, not to sound like there's classes of people, but there are people who do construction, great at construction. They make a good living doing construction. They love doing construction, but they also know when there's somebody who's in their crew that is bound for better things, be it music, art, science, math, etc. And yeah, if you're a good friend to somebody like that, you would not want them to waste their life being in construction. You'd want them to take that superpower they've got going in their head and actually do something with it.
Yeah.
It's the knowing that they have something that they're not using. They're just staying in this safe little space that they're in, that they've created for themselves, instead of going out and using it.
Mm-hmm.
Heartbreaking. I just wish you weren't there when I come and get you. Yeah, man. If I heard that from my best friend, that hurt.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you're saying that to somebody, they have to be in the right mindset to actually hear it the way you intend it. That kind of, I think, goes back to where we saw Sean and Will having that silence face off. Like he's waiting for Will to get to the point where he's willing to hear things right. And like his defenses and his walls have been breaking down throughout the entire film. And I think character wise, had that line been told to him earlier on, he absolutely would have taken it wrong and probably would have fought, like just thrown hands. He would have taken it personally. But I think character wise, he's gotten to the point where he actually understands what his buddy is saying to him.
Yeah.
Bro, dude, Skarsgård is that dude eats his vegetables, bro.
Yeah.
That guy's gigantic.
This too, they're like, Skarsgård's character is like, oh, you're just jealous of my, what I've done. And he's like, I'm not jealous of what you have.
Yeah, it's sad that he expects Sean to rub in his face, because he's like, you were smarter than me then, you're smarter than me now. But Sean refuses to rub it in his face and instead makes it about Will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Steven, yes, dude, Stevens is on point too. Like, they do end up like going out for a drink and actually communicating with each other. I mean, Will's case from the very beginning got them to talk again, which is an interesting detail.
Yeah, and I pointed it out before, and I'll go back to it again. I think these two are a good analog for Skarsgård is Will Hunting's mind and how it could be put to use academically, and Sean is his like potential for following his heart. So these are the two like dueling forces, not just fighting for Will here in the world that this movie's in, but actually the two, like an angel and a demon, for lack of a better kind of analogy, sitting on Will's shoulder trying to direct him.
Yeah.
That is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Man, it's weird. Robin Williams is a very physical actor too. That's what makes him so good. He can be physical and then just, do these just profound roles. It's really amazing, actually.
Yep. I already know what's going on here. I've seen my parents do it 1,000 times.
I was about to say, just like two parents argued, as soon as the kid walks in, they act like everything's fine.
Yeah. And even Robin Williams' character is like, that goes back a long way between him and me. It's not about you.
You see, he at least acknowledges that there's something going on, where Skarsgård's character is just like, oh, everything's great here. And then Sean's like, nah, we've got some history.
Yeah.
Oh, this part.
He's looking at his file that he offers to Will, but Will obviously has experienced it. He doesn't need to see it. And that's the first time we really kind of get an idea of the physical abuse that he went through.
Well, what is this right here? Oh, is it so? Okay, like for seeing this at first, I first thought it was like a knife in his side, but then I saw that it was just his arm separated. That dude took a beating. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has an open wound on his bruised area, stab wounds. Yeah.
Oh. Roman's got pointed something out. Will is wearing a new shirt, not one of his raggedy ones.
Oh.
Oh.
Man, I'm always learning something new. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, this part too, where he says his foster.
Sorry, go ahead.
His foster father would lay out a wrench, a belt, and a stick, and tell him choose. It's like, and he chose like the worst one, the wrench, just to get back at the stepfather. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's when he finds out that, Sean has gone through something like that too, where his dad would come home drunk and he would provoke him to take his anger out on him to save his mother from being the victim. Yeah, he says something about he's taken a job, one of the ones that was recommended.
There are rarely scenes like these that can hurt me, but man, this scene is just like this thing's up there.
And he just keeps repeating, "It's not your fault."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Will's first reaction is, "Don't be like everybody else trying to play me." And Sean is not playing him. He actually cares about him.
And it's probably something that he had to go through himself, is recognizing that it's not his fault, because they went through similar kind of childhoods.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to face reality. You can't run from what happened. Probably the first time he ever did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was an orphan, which means he probably didn't or barely knew his biological dad. He'd been in and out of the foster care system, where he was abused often by his father figures, and this is the first time he's kind of accepted a father figure that isn't abusive and actually cares about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Roman's right. That is a gut punch.
Looking back, I feel like any of us would want to hug Robin Williams right now in this way.
Yeah.
Just a big old bear hug.
I don't know. I'm not much of a hugger.
It's like I would shake his hand at least.
Yeah.
Handshake.
Nod at him from the other side of the room.
A good firm handshake.
Yeah.
Yes.
A knowing nod.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not much of a hugger either. That means if it happens, you better appreciate it because it might be the last one you get for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a chest bump.
It's not your fault. Oh,
Not your fault. High five.
more contemplation.
Good shot. Empty train car.
Yeah.
You can't hide from Steven's shield wall.
Only if he uses both hands.
Yeah, transitions like that train scene and then coming into here. That's where this movie feels most kind of indie film-esque. At least to me. It kind of felt to me like they didn't really get permits to film in a lot of locations, so I kind of get the feeling they just went on an empty train car and filmed there and hoped they didn't get kicked out or arrested.
Yeah.
That kind of guerrilla style filmmaking.
That is pretty good. That would make a lot of sense. I mean, can you get in trouble for just filming on a train like that?
For productions, you're supposed to get like city permits in almost every city. It's just another way that they get a little bit of income, and B,
squeeze
it's a
some
CYA
money.
sort of thing, so that if something happens to you while you're filming, the city can say, you didn't get a permit with us, so you're on your own.
We didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how they show that painting of the guy rowing in rough seas, and then they have this later on where it's calm, and he's rowing on calm water.
I didn't even make that connection. That's great.
I've learned another new thing.
See, that's what makes a good movie. No matter how many times you've watched it, you still learn more each time you watch it.
Yeah. That's a crazy parallel. Oh, calm waters on a rowboat. Just works.
I love this too. This is the last time, and Sean is going on a world trip.
Yeah, I think he's taken some of his own advice. He's traveled and he's seen things, but he hasn't for a while. Probably since his wife got sick, he probably stopped his life to take care of her. And then when she passed, he stopped his life to mourn her, and he's never started it again. So he's taken some of his own advice about getting out there and actually experiencing things again. See you later, Roman.
Later, Roman.
Thanks, Roman.
Yeah, later, man. Have a good one.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Yeah.
This is a rarity to go almost 3 hours.
I didn't even realize we were approaching that yet.
It's just one of those movies. You just got to talk about it, you know?
You just,
holy moly, like you really see the accentuation like on the hair on his arms when he's hugging a person that doesn't have hair on their arms. Like intense.
He looks like he's got a permanent grayscale tan.
Sunburn.
Yeah.
He's probably got enough back hair he could like jump off a building and land safely.
Yeah, it's just a soft padded fall. That's it.
Just a big poof landing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that look that Matt Damon gives him. Like he's basically made his choice. He still goes to the he still hasn't followed through with it yet, but he's made his choice.
I love how they're talking about this guy, and he's like, "What are y'all talking about?"
Oh yeah, he's 21 now. He can drink legally. Now it's not fun anymore.
Yeah. Oh man. Now we have to separate ways. It's not fun anymore.
I love this. You get him this old beater.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
what is it? Oh, I don't know. I do think it's kind of ironic though that he the moment he turns 21, he stops going to bars every night.
Yeah.
It's a muscle car. I don't know what kind.
Oh, looks like something my mom used to drive.
Is that a what do I want to say? A Dart is coming to mind, but I don't think that might be right.
That's yeah. It's a Nova.
A Nova.
That's it. It's a Nova. Thanks, Steven.
Oh.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks, Steven. And the engine didn't look like much, but
those cars back then, though,
car.
you could just beat them up, and the engine could look like that, and it would still run just fine. It didn't have any computer chips or any kind of fuel injection nonsense in there.
Yeah, simple.
Well, this one might actually.
Nice.
Yeah, but, he jokes like, "What is it, a lawnmower engine?" And they say like a inline six that could legitimately be out of a John Deere tractor. That could legitimately be
that's
a tractor.
That's what it looks like.
It could be.
But which means that it's simple to work on. You can fix it yourself. You know, you don't got to take it to get it downloaded or anything like that to figure out what's going on with it.
Nice.
Yeah, and Will's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to drive cross country with this."
Yeah, good luck to getting to California in that thing, Will.
I mean, it could look like kind of like a piece of junk, but if the engine's well taken care of and its tires are new, it's got good brakes and suspension and stuff, it could probably make it.
And you know, his friends are good friends. They're not going to give him a junk car that doesn't run.
Yeah.
But that's a long drive. I mean,
yeah.
What do you think the fastest you can doing this roughly the speed limit? That what is it, like 2 days? That's like if
that's
you're
assuming
driving.
that car can make it to the speed limit.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, I bet it can. But,
yeah,
because it can take you 2 days just to drive across Texas.
Yeah, in 2 days, I can go from driving about 10 to 12 hours a day. I can go from Houston to Denver, and it's about another day or two to get to Canada that direction. So, if you don't stop driving, it's probably 3 days from Boston to California. But that's just a guess.
I don't know. I can't. I don't normally drive that long. I usually want to stop and, you know,
Yeah.
get a place to stay and something to eat or whatever. Now, maybe if I had like an RV or something, we could just, kind of pull over for an hour or two, fix you something to eat in the microwave.
So, what do you think that Skarsgård's character learned in this? What do you guys think?
Good question.
Because when I look at it, I guess the only thing I could think of is that he kind of resigns to maybe just hanging out with Sean a bit more, maybe because Will made him realize that he's just not all that he thought he was cracked up to be. But other than that, I don't know. Maybe that he just felt pulled towards the friendship once more, or their spat really made him realize some things.
So Will broke down his kind of like self-image as far as his academic identity, and maybe his like little fight with Sean kind of brought him down a little bit further to reality. I think Stephen Ransom might be right. It's just humanity, because he wasn't treating Will as a human. He was treating him as an asset.
Yes.
And he clearly was a character that was, obsessed with title and status, not with connecting with people.
Mm.
Oh, this is good. Will put him on that boat that Sean had painted. He put him on the rough seas.
Yep. Speaking of painting, it looks like he painted the car. Oh, never mind. It was a different car. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, my question is whose car is that in his yard?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like when they go to pick him up at the end here, they'll pass he'll run past the car just parked in there.
I assumed that was like the homeowner, the person that he rented a room from or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I saw other people online saying that in
been a hot
Southie
little
there's
car.
not a lot of parking spaces, so that sometimes your neighbor will, use your driveway if you let them or something like that.
oh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would put a little small block V8 in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's got his Red Sox jacket on. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, he goes to pick him up for work and he's not there. Finally.
Yeah. Okay, I got to point out something that really bothers me here.
What's that?
Affleck smiles, and you can see bubbles of spit in his mouth. I'm like, dude, swallow before you smile.
I didn't notice that.
Hey, come on, Jacob. It was part of the script, okay? Says right here, Ben Affleck turns, smiles, bubbles and foams at the mouth a little bit, and then walks away.
I like how that one dude in the back seat's like, oh, seat, shotgun, yeah.
Yep, yeah, he's like, I'm moving up in the world. Yep.
Yeah, it's like everybody got a win because Will's gone.
Yeah. And the older guy in the back's like, I get a whole bench seat to myself.
Yeah.
You can stretch out and take a nap in that thing.
That's a boat, man.
That's right.
And that's that.
I like
I had to go see about a girl.
What he says here.
Use my line.
Oh, it's Mrs. Sassy Sasquatch.
Stole my line.
Hello.
Hey, Sassy. We're talking with funny accents tonight.
Hey, have a good one, Steven. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for hanging out.
Later, Steven. Yeah, thanks for all your input. And there he goes. Off to California.
Fantastic. He gets there. She's like, I met someone else. Like, oh, no.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Probably. Or the car broke down. Oh, man.
I
the engine
learned
block
a lot
split.
talking to you guys about this. Like, Jacob, if not for you, I would not have known about that parallel with the boat on the calm water. That was great.
Yeah. I didn't catch that. And there was a lot of things I only caught going back through it slowly like we do here and actually talking about it that I definitely did not catch when actually watching the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
like
excellent.
The Shelby Cobra shirt or jacket.
Yeah.
Now, is that like actual? Well, I mean, I know the chances of it being actual foreshadowing it would be insane. But that really, if it's a coincidence, my goodness, it's like
it was totally a coincidence. I think he chose that jacket. Maybe he might have picked it out just because he liked it, but
someone took it seriously. They're like, yeah, that's the guy. I want him.
Yeah.
You never know the weird
Matt
stuff
Damon
like that
produce?
happens.
I thought Matt Damon produced Ford v Ferrari.
I don't know.
Probably did. Maybe.
But weird stuff like that happens. Like a producer or somebody, like an executive or somebody will see somebody somewhere doing something, and that'll give them the idea, hey, let's get this person for this,
Yeah.
Like people discovering people in a coffee shop or in line at the store is like a real thing.
Yeah. Who knows?
No, he did not produce it.
Oh.
I guess the producers don't really pick the actors, do they?
Well, I guess the only other thing could be a divine intervention then. And then that jacket is just supernatural by nature.
Yes. The Cobra is a supernatural car.
No, I really enjoyed talking to you guys about this. I actually have to go fix my kids a couple sandwiches, and then I have to go jump on a stream with Price in about 15 minutes. So
okay,
I'm short on time. Actually,
sorry, it went so
sorry,
late.
we went long.
Well, I enjoyed it because I
love
this movie, and just like I learned so much. I'm actually kind of shocked, like that the things I've learned and I've watched the movie several times. So like going back through it, and Jacob, like you pausing those things, I'm like we're all just able to point things out that I could not even like imagine seeing earlier. So it's cool.
Yeah. Thanks for being on. So why don't you go ahead and plug your anything you want to plug? Before you head out.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, you guys can catch me on my channel for Dreadroberts if you want to see entertainment, pop culture news stuff. I've got a second channel called Judson the Gamer if you want to see gaming updates, and if you're interested and you want to see me and Price of Reason stream, we're about to do a stream on his channel in like the next 15-20 minutes. It's called The Night Owl, and it's on YouTube and Rumble. And we've been having a lot of fun with that. So we're going to talk about some pop culture stuff tonight. So if you're interested, just hop over there and maybe subscribe and follow and subscribe to all these dudes here as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, awesome, man. It was great being on a stream with you.
It was
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
great
fun.
insights.
I went ahead and
Yeah.
put a link to your YouTube in the chat, and also Price of Reason if people want to follow you over there in a little bit.
Thank you guys so much. And yeah, you guys had great,
Yeah.
like Roman said, great insights. You guys are so smart, and it was just a lot of fun. It was, I don't get to talk to you guys much, so this was a nice opportunity. So I hope
This
to
is
see you
great.
guys again soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
All right. Well, you guys have a great
See
night.
you,
I
man.
will see you all later.
Yep. Have a good one, man.
See you, man.
Yep, you too. Later. So yeah, great show, great movie, great panel to talk about it, and great chat too.
Yeah.
Chat was really good.
I'm glad that I did not find this movie to be overrated. Like very often, as I said before, when people tell me something is amazing, I usually go into it with really high expectations and get disappointed. But this movie absolutely did not disappoint, and I love it.
Yeah,
me
that
too.
happens a lot though. People are like, "Oh, this movie's the best," and you look at it and you're like, "Nah." Or they're like,
Yeah.
"I don't really care for that movie. It's not that good," and then I'll watch it and be like, "That movie was pretty good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, what you y'all have anything to plug? Beard, you got anything?
Let's see. Tomorrow I'll be on Late Night with Cat with JT and a panel of folks to talk leprechauns. That's 8:30
Oh, that'll
Central,
be
if I
fun.
The
remember
movies
correctly.
or just the actual like folklore?
The
The
creature.
folklore of leprechauns.
Okay.
Ooh, that'll be good.
And then Thursday, I'll be on Roman at the Empire for Irish movies. I'm pretty sure you two guys are going to be there as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on that one too.
Yeah, and so I have to go watch some Irish movies so I can actually bring some Irish movies to the table because I don't
may
watch
I,
movies. I'm that guy.
May I tell you about one that you might want to watch?
I've got a
It's
few lined
basically
up, but let me know.
the Irish Sisu.
Okay.
It's called Black 4047, I think. It's not bad. It's an okay movie.
You know, when you're trying to sell something to somebody, you should not use "it's not bad."
Okay, it's a fantastic movie, and you have to
See,
watch
there you
it.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
Black 47. All right, I'll take a look
Got
at it. I've got a few.
Hugo Weaving's in it.
Okay.
So
I've got a few on my list that I'm going to try to watch
about
before Thursday.
an Irish ranger that's been fighting for the British, and he goes AWOL to visit his family, and it's like in the height of the potato famine. It's good. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I think that covers me for the rest of the week. So
okay. Shieldwall.
Yeah, I'm going to be on Roman the Empire show on Thursday for the same thing, favorite Irish movies. And then, let's see here, next week on the 19th, you have a show on the 19th, right, Jacob?
Let me see. Yeah. And that one's actually full. That one filled up pretty quick. I can only have 4 people, or just me and 3 other people on that one. So.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. And it filled.
That's
filled
fine.
Up quick.
What is it? The
First Blood.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that now. So, yeah, that didn't surprise me at all that it filled up quick. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, well, this was a lot of fun. This is a pretty good movie. Very well done. Won some Academy Awards, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I will also be on Roman's show Thursday. And Saturday, I'll be talking about the director, William Wyler. He directed Ben-Hur, The Big Country, Roman Holiday, just a bunch of old good movies.
Yeah, those are all really good movies. Yeah.
And oh yeah, Friday I'll be on Potato Raven's channel for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, awesome.
And next Tuesday, like I said, I'll be doing First Blood.
Yep.
I think it's the best of those movies. I mean, it's not your what you think. If you've seen the other Rambo movies, it's nothing like them. I mean, it's got a
You're talking
completely
about the
different
very
feel
first one,
to it.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best one. Well, except maybe 5, where he goes to Cambodia or whatever.
I haven't seen 5.
You haven't seen that one? And he gets on the 50 cal and just eviscerates people. It's great.
No, I haven't.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good time.
No, because he actually has to like reload his gun and stuff, and people are shooting at him, and it's bouncing off the chicken plate on the gun. But it's a good example if you want to see like what a 50 cal can really do, like how effective it is and why we still use it.
Yeah.
80, 90 years after it was invented, it shows you exactly why.
Yeah, it's something you don't want to be on the other end of.
No, it basically kills everything it shoots.
Yes.
It kills a truck, it kills a boat, a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was watching a gun channel, and they wanted to see what would happen if they just hit the ballistic dummy's ear, and the kinetic energy took the ballistics gels dummy's head off.
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So
stuff.
it's
force delivered is
is
a factor of mass and velocity, and that thing is a lot of mass moving very fast.
Yes. Yep.
Well, yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a great stream. So,
yeah,
good movie.
But on that fun note, there. Thanks to everybody for hanging out with us and going through this movie for 3 hours. Actually, 3 hours and 20 minutes. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good week, and we'll see y'all next time. And
have a good one, everybody.
Be good, people. Later.